126. Tang San's Fourth Spirit Ring. Chapter 124. Tang San's Fourth Spirit Ring. Third brother. What's wrong with this guy? Why did he suddenly run off for no reason? It's really inexplicable. It was Ma Hongjun who spoke. Ever since he learned from Louise that he could only alleviate the side effects of his spirit by soaking in cold water and staying in that ghostly place of ice and snow, Ma Hongjun had completely given up on the idea of reconciling with Ning Chuan. He decided to follow Tang San, the strongest person in their Shrek team. Calling Tang San third brother in front of Ning Chuan was a way to express his stance. However, there was not a trace of respect for Yu Xiaogang in his tone. Because he knew that Tang San no longer respected Yu Xiaogang either. Before this, everyone in Shrek knew about this matter, except for Yu Xiaogang, who still lived in his own fantasy. After all, ruining someone's future is like killing their parents. Yu Xiaogang had harmed Tang San so badly. It was already very rational for him to continue calling the other party teacher. Who knows? Tang San acted as if he hadn't seen Yu Xiaogang escape, turning his gaze to Louise to continue consulting her about the fourth spirit ring for his blue-silver grass. What Ning Chuan wanted was this. He directly transmitted his voice to Louise. Louise was stunned for a moment, then relayed Ning Chuan's words. Regarding your spirit's situation, I have a general understanding. To be honest, as your former head teacher, I am deeply saddened by what you've experienced. It's partly my responsibility for not discovering your misguided path in time. As soon as she spoke, Louise delivered a heartfelt speech, expressing her regret and guilt over Tang San absorbing 3 poison attribute spirit rings. Not to mention the others, even Tang San himself was completely bewildered and looked at her, carefully, very carefully. What is truly selfless? What is a true theoretical grandmaster? Even knowing that her disciple was at odds with Tang San, she could still treat them equally. Even Tang San was moved for a moment. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up, Comment, Speech Balloon, Share, Bell, Infinite Novel Audio at this moment. He couldn't help but wonder if he had chosen to apprentice under Louise like Ning Chuan back then, instead of choosing to stand up for that swindler Yu Xiaogang. Would he have already surpassed Ning Chuan by now? After all, he knew Ning Chuan's talent. His spirit was initially just a good-looking but useless bamboo sword, and his innate spirit power was only half a level. He couldn't compare to a genius like himself, who had innate full spirit power and twin spirits. If he had apprenticed under Louise early on, he might already be a spirit king by now. Why would he have been surpassed by Ning Chuan for a time? It was only because he possessed that extremely powerful second spirit. Otherwise, he would probably be trampled under Ning Chuan's feet for the rest of his life, unable to raise his head. It's just a pity that there are no ifs in this world. The rules of the Douluo Continent would also not allow him to take a second teacher. However, fortunately, no irreversible consequences have been caused yet, so it's not too late. See, Louise had already begun to offer him targeted advice. Louise pretended to ponder in silence for a moment, then said, "Now your blue-silver grass spirit has been endowed with 3 poison attribute spirit rings. Although I don't know how you suppress the spirit's side effects, it's clearly no longer suitable for you to continue adding wood attribute spirit rings, as this will cause severe rejection with the 3 poison attribute spirit rings you currently have. MHM. Tang San nodded emphatically, waiting for her to continue while thinking to himself, as expected, this is a true grandmaster, straight to the point. Fortunately, I didn't listen to Ning Chuan back then. How foolish to grind to level 40 and add a wood attribute spirit ring to the blue-silver grass spirit. But Louise's next sentence made Tang San show a puzzled expression. I suggest you choose an underground devil spider for your 4th spirit ring. This spirit ring is non-toxic, and it has a high probability of granting you a crowd control skill that usually only appears as a 5th spirit ability. Yes, the underground devil spider. This was the 4th spirit ring Ning Chuan had chosen for Tang San. It gave Tang San a crowd control skill, blue-silver prison, which was very useless in the later stages. Because once it left the ground, it completely lost its effect, and in terms of sturdiness, it was even inferior to Tang San's third spirit ability, spider web restraint. In the very late stage of the original novel, even the binding skill was more practical than this. However, Tang San clearly wasn't so easily fooled. He frowned and said, "But Grandmaster Louise, if I, a plant spirit master, attach an animal spirit ability, won't it cause spirit ring rejection again?" The premise for spirit ring rejection is that your first 3 spirit rings are all plant spirit rings. Since your first and third spirit rings have already been attached as animal spirit rings, rejection is unavoidable whether you choose a plant spirit ring or an animal spirit ring. Therefore, after comprehensive consideration, finding an underground devil spider is the most suitable. However, you must remember that, because of the existence of spirit ring rejection, even if you absorbed an overaged third spirit ring, do not be too aggressive. It's best not to absorb an underground devil spider exceeding 5,000 years. After saying all this, Louise felt a bit dizzy herself, but what could she do? It was all arranged by her little man, she just needed to follow through. Tang San nodded emphatically, but not exceeding 5,000 years was definitely impossible, because his clear sky hammer's second spirit ring was already closed to 4,000 years. This blue-silver grass's fourth spirit ring had to be at least 6,000 years to lay the foundation for his second spirit to acquire a 10,000-year spirit ring in the future. On the other side, Flender had already caught up with Yu Xiaogang. "Xiaogang, what are you doing again? Why are you suddenly getting angry with the child for no reason?" Flender grabbed Yu Xiaogang's shoulder, not letting him leave. "What else is there to say at this point? Now, not only does the world not recognize my theories, but even my own disciple is like this. Staying here will only make me unwelcome." Yu Xiaogang's face was ashen. Flender suddenly became very agitated and provoked him. "Xiaogang, I misjudged you. Are you really such an easily defeated person? Is this still the Yu Xiaogang I know? Giving up so easily, are you still worthy of Liu Erlong's love?" After arriving at Heaven Du Royal Academy, Flender naturally maintained correspondence with Liu Erlong, and they even met once in Heaven Du City. However, in the past 2 years, Yu Xiaogang had been affected by the side effects of Tang San's spirit. Not only had he accomplished nothing, but he also gave people the impression of misleading students. If he told Liu Erlong that Yu Xiaogang was at Heaven Du Royal Academy, and then Liu Erlong came to Heaven Du Royal Academy, it would probably make the usually proud Yu Xiaogang run away again, and it would be the kind of disappearance forever. That's why he had delayed arranging for them to meet. He had originally planned to have them meet during this Soul Master competition, but he never expected it to turn into today's situation. And Yu Xiaogang was indeed as Flender had thought. If Liu Erlong came, he would indeed run away. Hearing Flender's words, Yu Xiaogang immediately became even more despondent. "You're right. I truly have no qualifications now. I never did, I don't now, and I never will again." Chapter 125. Qian Rengsu's thoughts. Seeing that his provocative method not only didn't work but backfired, Flender felt a headache coming on. He took a deep breath and tried to speak to Yu Xiaogang in a calm tone. "Xiaogang, even I have to admit that Master Louise's theories do have their unique aspects, but no one is perfect. She also has areas where she can't compare to you and places where she can't teach little San. Even you think I can't compare to that Louise." Flender's first sentence made Yu Xiaogang furious, but the subsequent sentence seemed to suddenly bring hope to his bleak life. "Speak." Flender's lips curved into a smile. He said, "Xiaogang, don't forget, no matter how powerful Master Louise is, her theories only apply to single spirits, but Tang San has twin spirits. This secret was currently known only to him and Yu Xiaogang at Shrek. Right, you're correct. Little San has twin spirits. Regarding how to help Little San overcome the twin spirits' difficulty, only I can solve this problem." Yu Xiaogang's eyes immediately brightened. It seemed it was also time to go see Bibai Dong. This is the Xiaogang I know. Seeing Yu Xiaogang regain his usual confidence, Flender finally showed a satisfied smile. He patted Yu Xiaogang's shoulder and said, All right, come back with me. Temporary prejudices are nothing. Once you solve the problem of how little San can overcome the twin spirit's difficulty, I believe he will understand your painstaking efforts. You're right, but I can't go back yet, Yu Xiaogang said in a deep voice. Flender thought Yu Xiaogang was still sulking and grabbed his shoulder again. Xiaogang, you can't leave again. Don't worry, I won't leave again. I'm going to Spirit City. Yu Xiaogang's face was filled with determination. Although he had long decided never to see that woman again, the one who coveted his theories and then abandoned him. But for his disciple, Tang San, no matter how unwilling, he had to make the trip. Coincidentally, the Supreme Pontiff token left by Clear Sky Douluo back then. It was also time for it to play its due role. At the same time, Emperor Zhu Yi of the Heaven Du Empire and Crown Prince Zhu King, played by Qian Rengsu, both in Heaven Du City, had already received news about Ning Chuan and his 3 companions returning and their decision to form the new royal fight team. Originally, Zhu Yi didn't pay much attention. After all, no matter how talented, they were ultimately just a few Shrek Academy students who hadn't fully matured yet, not worthy of his personal attention as the Emperor of the Heaven Du Empire. However, after learning about the results of the Four's training, Emperor Zhu Yi could no longer sit still. Ning Chuan Spirit. Top-tier tool Spirit Azure Bamboo Bee Cloud Sword Spirit Ring Configuration. Yellow, purple, purple, black. 14 years and 4 months old, level 48. Zhu Zhuking Spirit. Hell Sivet Spirit Ring Configuration. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple. 14 years and 1 month old, level 43. Ning Rongrong Spirit. 9 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda Spirit Ring Configuration. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple. 14 years and 3 months old, level 42. Yilingaling Spirit. Sacred Heart Begonia Spirit Ring Configuration. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple. 17 years and 4 months old, level 46. To ensure Emperor Zhu Yi paid enough attention, the Education Committee even reported the ages and months of Ning Chuan and his 3 companions. Ning Rongrong and Yilingaling, as support system spirit masters, were one thing. Even with high talent and spirit evolution, they were ultimately support system. They lacked offensive capabilities. But Ning Chuan and Zhu Zhuking were sole grandmasters. Especially Ning Chuan, he was truly a prodigy. Therefore, after learning that Ning Chuan was recommended for admission by Crown Prince Zhu King, he not only agreed to Ning Chuan's request to reorganize the royal fight team, give up the guaranteed admission, and participate in the preliminary rounds. He also instructed him to try his best to win over Ning Chuan, and also his teacher, Louise. After all, to be able to teach a disciple like Ning Chuan enables Zhu Zhuking's rapid progress in strength and cause Ning Rongrong and Yilingaling's spirits to evolve. That was truly a grandmaster in every sense of the word. At this moment, inside the prince's residence in Heaven Du City, Qian Rengsu, who had just finished meeting the Education Committee and received a notification from Emperor Zhu Yi, showed a very surprised expression. 14 years old, after the second 1,000-year spirit ring, he once again broke convention by obtaining a 10,000-year 4th spirit ring, and his spirit power has reached level 48. Interesting. Ning Chuan, I'm truly becoming more and more interested in you. Originally, when she first met Ning Chuan, which was 2 years ago, he was just a 12-year-old level 34 spirit elder. Although he possessed 2,000-year spirit rings in the eyes of a genius like her, who had innate spirit power of level 20 and the divine spirit seraphim, it was nothing. After all, merely having a 1,000-year second spirit ring was not enough to bridge the gap between them. But now, Ning Chuan's spirit power had reached level 48 at the age of 14. This was already on par with her at the same age back then. Coupled with the fact that he had obtained a 10,000-year 4th spirit ring, which broke convention, it was enough to garner her attention. Crucially, he also had an innate spirit power of half a level, just like the man that woman cared about, which made Qian Rengsu even more interested. Similar talents, different destinies. Ning Chuan had now grown into a young genius whom even she had to take seriously. In contrast, Yu Zhiaogang had researched a bunch of so-called useless theories, a large portion of which were plagiarized, and he had even taught Tang Hao's son's side effects. If she hadn't seen Yu Zhiaogang a few times at Heaven-Du Royal Academy, she would have thought he was an undercover agent from Spirit Hall, sent to ruin Tang-san. It was truly, utterly ridiculous. Someone, prepare the carriage. Kaian Renksu stood up, and at her command, her subordinates immediately went to prepare the carriage. Imperial brother, where are you planning to go? Just then, a delicate and lovely young girl bounced in from outside. It was Emperor Zhu Yi's youngest daughter, Zhu Qi. Kaian Renksu saw the young girl, and a hint of doting flashed in her eyes. By Father Emperor's command, I'm going to recruit some young and excellent spirit masters for the Empire. This was a lie. As an undercover agent, Kaian Renksu naturally couldn't genuinely help the Heaven-Du Empire recruit endlessly talented spirit masters. However, she also knew that even if she didn't recruit them, there would be many others who would want to, such as Ning Fengzhai. Rather than that, it would be more practical for her to recruit them under her own command as soon as possible. She had this confidence. Upon hearing that it was to recruit spirit masters at Heaven-Du Royal Academy, Zhu Qi immediately lost all interest. She didn't like fighting and killing. Compared to that, she preferred quiet, handsome men. A similar scene also occurred at the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Upon learning that their little princess, who had left home for 2 years, first joined Shrek Academy, then transferred to Heaven-Du Royal Academy, and then left a letter after less than 2 months to rashly follow Ning Chuan on an outdoor training expedition, had returned. The entire 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School was in an uproar. The Sword and Bone Douluo, the 2 protectors of the school, even circled around Ning Rongrong, fearing that she might have bumped or bruised herself or suffered any injury. Otherwise, they would definitely give Ning Chuan a lesson he would never forget. Chapter 126, 7-Colored Sky-Swallowing Python, who told that kid to take their little princess out for training so early. Even if it were a few years later, once Rongrong grew up a bit, they wouldn't have any objections. Rongrong is still so young, and the highest cultivation of these little ones is only a spirit elder. What if they encounter bad people? Ning Fengzhai looked at Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo, who usually had serious expressions, now acting like 2 mischievous old rascals. He was between laughter and tears. All right, Grandpa Sword, Bone Grandfather, what are you doing? Didn't Rongrong come back safe and sound? Regarding Ning Rongrong's outdoor training, Ning Fengzhai had always held opinions opposite to those of Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo. Therefore, when he learned that Ning Rongrong had sent a letter, and then left, he did not order the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School to search the world for her. After all, flowers in a greenhouse can never truly grow. Most importantly, he believed he understood Ning Chuan. Although Ning Chuan was surrounded by various girls and was a bit of a playboy, in terms of personality, he was very cautious and not a reckless person. His daughter wouldn't suffer any losses following him. Of course, if it were a loss in that aspect, it would be different. Not only would he not be angry, but he would also be very happy to see it happen. Facts proved that his choice was correct. Rongrong had indeed grown a lot by going out with Ning Chuan. Putting everything else aside, this spirit power fluctuation alone couldn't be faked. Exactly. I've said it countless times, I'm fine, but you just don't believe me. Ning Rongrong pouted her small mouth. All right, Rongrong, we believe you, but you still have to tell us where you've been these past 2 years. You don't know, I've been worried sick these 2 years. My hair is almost gone from worry, unlike this scoundrel who has a stern face all day and doesn't even think about looking for you. Gu Rong had a fawning expression, and in the end, he didn't forget to jab at Sword Douluo. Nonsense, you're the one with the stern face. Sword Douluo was immediately annoyed upon hearing this. Seeing the two about to argue again, Ning Fengzhai promptly called a halt. All right, Grandpa Sword, Bone Grandfather, stop arguing for now. Let's listen to what Rongrong has to say first. Upon hearing this, Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo stopped arguing. Under the gazes of Ning Fengzhai, Sword Douluo, and Bone Douluo, Ning Rongrong began to narrate. It all started when Ning Chuan returned after taking leave that day. As she spoke, Ning Rongrong began to talk nonsense. Well, how to put it, she just said whatever was most dangerous. She completely followed the words Ning Chuan had used to fool Yu Feng and others earlier. Knowing that Ning Rongrong had encountered so many life-threatening dangers, even Ning Fengzhai, who was mentally prepared, felt a surge of fear. Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo were even more worried for Ning Rongrong, seemingly ready to make Ning Chuan pay with his life if anything happened to Rongrong. Meanwhile, Ning Rongrong began to apologize to the three inwardly. Sorry, Dad, sorry, Bone Grandfather, sorry, Grandpa Sword. Rongrong didn't mean to deceive you, but for Ning Chuan's safety, Rongrong could only do this. Ning Fengzhai didn't know that his daughter had been led astray. He asked in surprise. Then Rongrong, facing that level of danger at the time, did you not think of retreating? Did you not feel afraid? How could I not be afraid? But Ning Chuan once said that people with talent but no effort are fools, people with effort but no talent are mediocrities, and people with no talent and no effort are trash. He himself has no talent, so relying only on effort isn't enough. He can only fight with his life. When I heard that, I was immediately invigorated, so naturally, I had to fight with my life. Well, this sentence was the only true statement Ning Rongrong made after returning. These were the words Ning Chuan used to comfort them after their first kill in Lost City. Ning Rongrong was now putting what she learned into practice. No wonder you were able to increase your spirit power level by more than 10 in just 2 short years. From the spirit power fluctuations on your body, you should be close to a spirit ancestor, right? When a spirit master does not summon their spirit power fluctuations are not obvious. Ning Fengzhai had not cultivated the purple demon eye, so he could only roughly judge Ning Rongrong's spirit power level based on his own experience. As for a spirit ancestor, he didn't dare to imagine it, because that would be truly astonishing. Ning Rongrong's lips curved into a smile. Not close to a spirit ancestor, but already a spirit ancestor. As she spoke, she no longer concealed it, slowly raising her right hand. Dazzling 9-colored light gathered in her palm. A small glazed pagoda, its base wrapped in golden light like tulip petals, appeared in Ning Rongrong's hand. 2 yellow and 2 purple dazzling spirit rings rose from her feet, slowly encircling her body. She actually broke through to spirit ancestor, Ning Fengzhai exclaimed. Now he clearly sensed Ning Rongrong's spirit power fluctuations. She had clearly reached level 42. Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo noticed even more. 9 layers, 9 colors. This is the 9 treasure glazed tall pagoda. X2, the two stared blankly at the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda in Ning Rongrong's hand, exclaiming in unison subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like thumbs up comment speech balloon, share bell infinite novel audio. What? Ning Fengzhai was greatly startled, only then noticing that there were actually 2 more layers beneath the base of the small pagoda, which was wrapped in golden light like tulip petals. The colored light faded, and Ning Rongrong retracted her spirit. On her delicate small face was an undisguised look of pride and self-satisfaction. This evolved because Ning Chuan chose 2 special spirit rings for me, based on the cultivation process of his own spirit. 2 special spirit rings. What kind of spirit beast produced these, that they could allow the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda to evolve into the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda? Ning Rongrong stated the answer she had already prepared. They are 2 gem-type spirit beasts. To be precise, it was 1 primeval variant and 1 gem-type spirit beast. Primeval variant Ning Fengzhai, Sword Douluo, and Bone Douluo showed surprised expressions. Although the term was unfamiliar, for a great sect like the 7 treasure glazed tile school, which had been passed down for thousands of years, there were clearly some records. When Ning Fengzhai had broken through to level 79, in order to find a way to break through to level 80, he had once consulted many ancient texts and learned about such existences. He explained, a so-called primeval variant is not a spirit beast. Instead, it belongs to a different kind of existence. After they die, they do not produce spirit rings, but rather some existence similar to Dugu Bo's pill bead. Ning Rongrong nodded and said, yes, yes. When Ning Chuan took me to the Star-Du Great Forest to obtain my third spirit ring, I fortunately encountered a 7-colored sky-swallowing python. After it was hunted, it didn't produce a spirit ring, but instead a 7-colored pill bead. Ning Chuan recognized it as a primeval variant and had me refine it. Then this pill bead transformed into my third spirit ability, providing me with a spirit ability that boosts spirit power. Although my spirit didn't undergo a significant change afterward, my cultivation speed greatly increased. Then, more than 4 months ago, Ning Chuan hunted a 5,000-year-old profound crystal tortoise for me, and my spirit directly evolved. Ning Fengzhai said, "It seems that pill bead played the main role. It's just what kind of existence was that 7-colored sky-swallowing python to be able to cause such a great change in Rongrong's spirit." Chapter 127, Jade Little Anus, Gone Valentine's Day Extra. Sword Douluo smiled and nodded, feeling relieved and curious about the primordial variant, the 7-colored sky-swallowing python. Bone Douluo pouted. Who cares? As long as Rongrong's spirit evolves, that's enough. At worst, we can have Rongrong describe the 7-colored sky-swallowing python's characteristics. That way, we might be able to find another pill bead and let Fengzhai also achieve evolution. Ning Fengzhai shook his head with a bitter smile. The reason primordial variants are called primordial variants is because they are often unique existences. I'm afraid you won't find a second 7-colored sky-swallowing python even if you search the entire continent. However, it doesn't hurt to record it. It can also be a method of evolution left for future generations. Ning Rongrong breathed a sigh of relief, finally having bluffed her way through. She then said, "Its appearance is covered in 7-colored scales with light purple snake pupils, and it naturally emits a peculiar fragrance." Ning Fengzhai had someone bring paper and a brush, personally writing down the record and listing it as the highest level of secrecy for the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda. After all this was done, Bone Douluo looked at Ning Fengzhai and transmitted his voice. "Fengzhai, no matter what, you must try every possible way to get this young man, Ning Chuan, to join the 7-treasure glazed tile school. At the very least, you cannot let him join Spirit Hall or the other 6 sects. Otherwise, he could very likely become a major hidden danger to our 7-treasure glazed tile school." Ning Fengzhai nodded heavily. He would do so even without the other party saying anything. Putting aside Ning Chuan's own strength, his understanding of spirits alone could elevate the overall strength of his 7-treasure glazed tile school to a much higher level within the next 10 or 20 years. Seeing the expressions of the two, Sword Douluo knew exactly what they were planning. Originally, he didn't want to interfere, but he genuinely thought highly of Ning Chuan. He spoke directly and without concealment. "I think Ning Chuan could directly become our grandson-in-law." Ning Rongrong's pretty face flushed. She instinctively wanted to say that Ning Chuan was already her grandson-in-law, but then she remembered Ning Chuan's instructions, who said that if their relationship was exposed, Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo might consider him a scumbag and cause him trouble. She could only deny it. "Grandpa Sword, don't talk nonsense. Ning Chuan already has zhuking. However, a love-struck mind often lowers one's IQ." Ning Rongrong, who had previously fooled Ning Fengzhai and the 2 other people, was now seen through by them at a glance. They couldn't guarantee whether Ning Chuan liked Ning Rongrong, but Ning Rongrong's heart was clearly set on Ning Chuan. As the saying goes, when a man pursues a woman, there's a mountain between them. When a woman pursues a man, there's only a veil. What's more, Ning Chuan was a passionate person. At that time, as long as they pushed things along a bit, hinting that he could marry both Rongrong and that girl named Zhuking at the same time, wouldn't that be easy to achieve? Ning Chuan and Zhuking are my friends. As if afraid they might do something bad to Ning Chuan and the others, Ning Rongrong quickly said, "Dad, you can't do anything to them." Ning Fengzhai smiled. What could he do to Ning Chuan? Now the other party was very likely to become his future son-in-law, and he even came with a Zhuking whose talent was also not weak. He was too happy to be unhappy, so why would he be against them? Don't worry. Just for him improving your spirit, I'm too grateful to him. However, for him to quietly steal my daughter's heart like this, as a father, I should at least meet this future son-in-law, shouldn't I? Upon hearing this, Ning Rongrong, who knew her thoughts had been seen through, immediately blushed even more. Even her neck turned a shade of pink. However, she secretly felt a sense of anticipation. After all, no child doesn't wish for their love to receive the blessings and approval of their family, and Ning Rongrong was no exception. Leaving aside Ning Fengzhai, not long after separating from Yu Xiaogang, Flender caught up with Ning Chuan and the others. From Flender's words, Ning Chuan learned that Yu Xiaogang had only temporarily left to meet an old acquaintance, and Ning Chuan roughly guessed what that fellow Yu Xiaogang was going to do. But Ning Chuan would not let him succeed. In the original work, Bibai Dong became increasingly fanatical after the Soul Master competition, and Yu Xiaogang's influence was partly responsible for this. Ning Chuan would not let Yu Xiaogang succeed. Of course, Ning Chuan wouldn't just kill Yu Xiaogang either. After all, to some extent, making him live in pain was the most enjoyable thing. Therefore, after entering Sunset Forest and leading Tang San and the others away from the ice and fire yin-yang well, Ning Chuan claimed that separating would be more efficient. He took Mona, Louise, as well as Yufeng and Oslo, the four of them, to hunt spirit rings for the Shi brothers. With over a year of experience living in Sunset Forest, they only spent less than 3 days finding suitable spirit beasts for the Shi brothers. The group left Sunset Forest. Upon leaving Sunset Forest, he secretly pricked his index finger, confirmed that Tang Rishan was not around, and that no one was monitoring him, then separated from the group, claiming he was going to Heaven Dew City to buy some things. He entered Heaven Dew City, then disguised himself and left the city, chasing in the direction of Spirit City at the fastest speed. It must be said, this Xiaogang, he really could run, just a spirit grandmaster at level 29, and his spirit was Luo Sanpao, who only farts. In just 3 or 4 days, he had run to the border of the Heaven Dew Empire. Ning Chuan seriously suspected that the other party had not rested in between. He actually made him chase for nearly a day. He only caught up after completely leaving the Heaven Dew Empire border. This angered Ning Chuan so much that he immediately, without a word, knocked him to the ground with a blunt object. Then he used a small, willow leaf-shaped knife to perform a physical castration on him. The kind that was very thorough. He scraped it completely clean. He also inserted feathers into him and used the blue-silver Emperor right leg bone skill to perform wound repair on him. He believed that when the person woke up, he would definitely not discover immediately that he had become like Dai Mubai. Finally, there was spirit power. Spirit City could only be entered by spirit masters. Without spirit power, Yu Xiaogang would basically be cut off from the possibility of seeing Bibai Dong, and the method to abolish a spirit master's spirit power was also very simple. Abolish his spirit rings, or if more thoroughly, abolish his spirit. As a good young man of the 21st century, how could Ning Chuan bear to watch such a terrifying spirit as Luo Sanpao disappear from the world? Therefore, he very kindly only abolished Yu Xiaogang's spirit rings. At the same time, Ning Chuan also thoughtfully collected the Supreme Pontiff's token given by Tang Rishan, as well as all the money and dry food on him. The Spirit Tool and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan Disciple token were also fed to the devouring gold bugs. This way, it was foolproof. After doing all this, Ning Chuan felt much more relaxed and happy. He used his 8 spider lances to take a shortcut, traversing mountains and valleys to Heaven Dew City, specifically showing his face at the Heaven Dew City auction house, and only then returned to Heaven Dew Royal Academy. And at this time, Yu Xiaogang finally woke up. As soon as he woke up, his whole world seemed to have collapsed. Chapter 128, Daily Flirting with His Royal Highness Pain. Pain that penetrated to the bone cold, a cold like falling into an ice cellar. This was Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang's first sensation upon regaining consciousness. He slowly opened his eyes, and what met his gaze was a dim sky. Rain was sprinkling down on him. He tried to get up, but found that no matter what, he couldn't muster an ounce of strength, and his head ached terribly. It seemed he had a fever. After quite a while, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang finally struggled to crawl out of the mud. He touched the back of his head, which ached terribly. A lump the size of an egg had swollen there. He knew he had been ambushed and had caught a cold from the rain. He felt his left wrist. His spirit tool was gone. It seemed he had been robbed. The Supreme Pontiff's token, along with the money and dry rations inside, had most likely been stolen with the spirit tool, and he also seemed to have caught a cold from the rain. But it didn't matter, as long as he could enter Spirit City. Such a small tribulation couldn't defeat him. With the name Yu Xiaogang, that woman Bibai Dong would surely see him, and then if he said a few good words, she would most likely tell him the cultivation method for twin spirits. Just like how she used to secretly give him access to various spirit hall secrets to read. That's what Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang thought. Just as he finally managed to sit cross-legged, planning to circulate his spirit power to simply recover some stamina, he was surprised to find that he couldn't sense his spirit power anymore. He summoned his spirit, and it was still that pig which had brought him so much humiliation, but there was no spirit ring. Boom, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang felt as if he had been struck by lightning, his mind instantly blank. After a long while, he finally forced his weakened body to sit up, rolled up his sleeves, and roared wildly, "Where is my spirit power? Who crippled my spirit power? Who crippled this Grandmaster's spirit power? Get out here. Do you know who this Grandmaster is? If you don't come out, this Grandmaster will be impolite to you. Damn it, which bastard crippled this Grandmaster?" As he spoke, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang couldn't help but collapse, crying uncontrollably. His eyes were filled with despair and helplessness. He had already been called a good-for-nothing for decades because his spirit power was permanently stuck at level 29. Now, he didn't even have this insignificant cultivation. Most importantly, without spirit power, he couldn't even enter Spirit City. Heaven, what did I, Yu Xiaogang, do wrong? Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang roared to the sky again. The thin rope always breaks at its weakest point, and misfortune always finds the unfortunate. Just as Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang was terribly distraught, he suddenly felt an itch in his lower regions. He instinctively reached into his crotch and felt a wet feather, and then there was nothing else. It was empty inside. It was as if he were like Dai Mubai now. The moment he pulled out the feather, the urine that had accumulated during his unconsciousness could no longer be held back and gushed out all at once. Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang's mind collapsed once more. He untied his belt, draped it over a tree trunk to use as a noose, and almost sought death. Now he was a cripple, not even a complete man. There wasn't much point in continuing to live in this world. But whether it was because he was afraid of death, or because his body was too weak, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang tried several times but didn't succeed. After an unknown amount of time, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang finally staggered to his feet and headed towards Heavendew Royal Academy. He still hadn't dared to die after all, but it wasn't because he was afraid. He wasn't afraid of dying, but he was afraid of dying in obscurity. He didn't want to die without value. He hadn't yet made a name for himself. He hadn't yet washed away the word good-for-nothing that had accompanied him for half his life, nor had he proven himself to the relatives and father who had mocked him. Otherwise, he wouldn't rest in peace, even in death. The current plan was to quickly return and lead the Shrek team before the Soul Master competition began. Although his theories were not recognized by the world, his tactics were absolutely flawless. He just needed to regain the Shrek members' recognition, then help them advance, go together to Spirit City for the grand finals, meet Supreme Pontiff Bibai Dong, and ask for the cultivation method for twin spirits. Then he would still have hope of becoming the revered Grandmaster he dreamed of. Leaving Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang aside for now, when Ning Chuan returned to Heavendew Royal Academy, Qian Rengsu and Ning Fengjai had already been waiting for a long time. Ning Chuan, who learned about this from Sun Buyu, rushed over immediately and met the two. Uncle Ning. "Oh, Snow Brother is here too. Snow Brother, long time no see." His gaze swept over them, and when it landed on Qian Rengsu, Ning Chuan feigned surprise for a moment, then rolled up his sleeves and with an incredible speed, moved to give her a bear hug. Yes, the kind where he heavily patted her back a few times. Ning Fengjai was full of surprise, and not just him. Kaiyan Rengsu herself was quite annoyed. How could she have forgotten about this? She had let this little bastard take advantage of her again. However, that speed just now was indeed not simple. Without using a spirit, his speed was already no less than that of an ordinary agility attack system spirit king, even startling her. Ning Chuan, you are truly as enthusiastic as ever. Kaiyan Rengsu said with a dark expression, though in her heart she wished she could beat him up. Haha, don't be polite, we're family. Ning Chuan had a very generous, buddy-buddy demeanor. Ning Fengjai asked with a hint of surprise. Zio Chuan, King, have your relationship become so close already? Hearing this, Ning Chuan finally released Kaiyan Rengsu, who was already on the verge of exploding, but he still kept his arm around Kaiyan Rengsu's shoulder, looking at Ning Fengjai. Yes, Uncle Ning, Snow Brother and I are the best of brothers, the kind of iron buddies. Snow Brother, I'm not wrong, am I? The last sentence was directed at Kaiyan Rengsu. Kaiyan Rengsu responded with a slight smile, but her ears had already quietly turned red. She cursed inwardly, this little bastard. If I didn't know he was surrounded by a group of women every day, I'd think he was gay. He just seemed to like hugging her so much. Ning Fengjai secretly nodded. Zhu King was his disciple and the future emperor of the Heaven Du Empire. In essence, they were on the same boat, rising and falling together, and Ning Chuan was his chosen future son-in-law. Their ability to get along was undoubtedly a result he wanted to see, although in such a public setting, putting an arm around someone's shoulder wasn't exactly an elegant gesture. However, it also depended on who it was. If it was Ning Chuan, even if their relationship was so good that they slept side by side, he wouldn't have thought anything of it. Oh, by the way, Snow Brother, Uncle Ning, my teacher told me you've been waiting for me for a few days. Is there something important? As he spoke, Ning Chuan's hand had already moved from Kaiyan Rengsu's shoulder to her neck. Yes, that was Ning Chuan's purpose in rolling up his sleeves. The moment his arm touched Kaiyan Rengsu's neck, Ning Chuan clearly felt Kaiyan Rengsu's body tremble, but it was quickly hidden. Chapter 129, Whoever gets Master Louise gets the world. Kaiyan Rengsu's skin was softer and more delicate than Ning Chuan had imagined. Her specific appearance could not yet be judged, but in terms of skin alone, among all the girls Ning Chuan knew, only Ning Rongrong, who had the best skin, could compare to her. Little Cat was slightly inferior, though Little Cat had her own advantages, of course. Hearing this, Kaiyan Rengsu suppressed the urge to kill and exchanged a smile with Ning Fengjai, saying, "Teacher, you go first." Ning Fengjai nodded slightly and said with a faint smile, "Ning Chuan, besides thanking you for taking care of Rongrong these past 2 years, we also have something we'd like to discuss with you. Uncle Ning, please speak freely. You and Snow Brother, one is the elder I respect most, and the other is my best brother, and you are Rongrong's father. As long as it's within my ability, I will try my best to do it." Ning Chuan casually made a grand promise. Currently, subscribe for more novel audiobooks, books like Thumbs Up, Comment, Speech Balloon, Share, Bell, Infinite Novel Audio. He was still in some danger. If he revealed his relationship with Ning Rongrong, it would undoubtedly turn the threat from the 7-treasure glazed tile school into assistance. But in doing so, he would be targeted by an even greater threat. So for now, it was best to play both sides. At least, he couldn't reveal his hand before taking down the little angel. Ning Fengjai nodded and smiled. "It's nothing major. It's just that many disciples of our 7-treasure glazed tile school have long admired Grandmaster Louise, so I'd like Grandmaster Louise to help train a group of spirit masters." Kaiyan Rengsu quietly shifted her body, separating her neck from Ning Chuan's arm, and interjected, "Our Heaven Du royal family also has this intention. We want Grandmaster Louise to serve as the chief instructor of the Heaven Du Empire Soul Master Legion. Isn't this making teacher take on the role of Gangxi from the original work? If Gangxi knew, would he still be able to live? He'd probably be driven mad with envy, jealousy, and hatred on the spot." Ning Chuan muttered to himself, then heard Kaiyan Rengsu say, "I imagine Ning Chuan wouldn't refuse such a small request, would he?" Ning Chuan wrapped his arm around Kaian Rengsu's neck again, pulling her even closer, so that their faces were almost touching. Of course, but this matter still needs my teacher's personal consent. It wouldn't hurt for Louise to be this so-called chief instructor. It would just make Gangxi a bit envious, jealous, and hateful. Besides, Louise's original intention was to be a good teacher. This could be considered fulfilling her dream. Kaian Rengsu was quite annoyed by Ning Chuan's action, but she still said, "Regarding this matter, we already discussed it with Grandmaster Louise yesterday. She said that as long as you have no objections, it's fine." Of course, the Soul Master competition is approaching, so all of this will happen after the Soul Master competition ends. Perfect. She could use this to control the Heaven Dew Empire Soul Master Legion and insert her own people, thereby completely mastering this force. Next, the three of them briefly discussed the Soul Master competition. From Kaian Rengsu, Ning Chuan learned that Emperor Zhu had already agreed to their participation under the name of the Heaven Dew Royal Academy main team. At the same time, considering that a pre-qualified team participating in the preliminary rounds would occupy a promotion spot in the Heaven Dew Empire division, therefore, to ensure the fairness of the competition and the authority of the Heaven Dew Empire, the number of promotion spots would increase from 5 to 6. In this way, there would be no more questions. Of course, the premise for all of this was that the Heaven Dew Royal Academy main team could qualify and had the strength to qualify. During this time, Ning Chuan kept his arm around Kaian Rengsu's neck, his hand moving back and forth in front of her, constantly taking advantage of her and teasing her. It wasn't until Ning Rongrong's voice sounded that Ning Chuan reluctantly let go of Kaian Rengsu. "Father, Crown Prince Brother." "Oh, Ning Chuan, you're already back." Ning Rongrong's charming figure walked in from outside the courtyard, followed by Louise, Mona, Little Cat, as well as the Shi brothers, Yu Feng, Oslo, and other members of the new royal fight team. As for Yilingaling, she had not yet returned after going back to her nine-heart begonia family. This courtyard was specially prepared by the Heaven Dew Royal Academy for the main team. Not only did each student have a detached house, but there was also a decent-sized training ground in the center of the courtyard, convenient for team members to spar with each other. Ning Rongrong and the others had just returned from training. "Schoolmaster Ning, Your Royal Highness the Crown Prince." Louise and Mona came forward to greet them. After Ning Fengjai and Kaian Rengsu discussed the matter of training spirit masters with Louise, they left. Before leaving, Ning Fengjai left the commission for training the spirit masters. 5 million gold coins. It was an astronomical sum. This included the Heaven Dew royal family's share, as Kaian Rengsu, in her role as Zhu King, was his disciple. To gain merit from supporting the future emperor, merely showing support was not enough. Therefore, Ning Fengjai would often provide financial support. Anyway, his 7-treasure glazed tile school had no shortage of money. When the other party ascended to power in the future, the 7-treasure glazed tile school would receive even greater returns. After Kaian Rengsu and Ning Fengjai left, Ning Chuan learned that the Shrek group had returned last night, and Ning Fengjai had already contacted Tang San. Kaian Rengsu, however, had not had any contact with him. It seemed Tang San couldn't pique her interest yet. It made sense. To attract Kaian Rengsu's attention, one needed to be not only talented and strong enough, but also handsome enough. Tang San was currently a 14-year-old and 11-month-old control system spirit ancestor. While his talent was barely sufficient, his appearance. Just thinking about it was nauseating, let alone for Kaian Rengsu, who was a sucker for good looks. Unless Ning Fengjai saw greater value in Tang San, like in the original work where he dragged Kaian Rengsu to Tang San to explain the so-called reason for Clear Sky Douluo's reclusion, Kaian Rengsu wouldn't pay him any mind. At most, from Spirit Hall's perspective, she would transmit Tang San's information to Spirit City, so that Spirit Hall's pre-qualified team would pay attention to this opponent, to avoid capsizing in the gutter and losing the competition, which would disgrace Spirit Hall. On the other side, Ning Fengjai and Kaian Rengsu had already left the Heaven Dew Royal Academy, and the two rode in the same carriage towards Heaven-Dew City. The Soul Master competition would begin in a few days. As a member of the Soul Master Competition Organizing Committee, Ning Fengzhai needed to go ahead to discuss the competition process. King, there's something I must tell you. From my understanding of Ning Chuan, if you truly want his help in the future, then never try to recruit him. Instead, continue to maintain your friendship with him, just like this. Although Ning Fengzhai was happy to see them get along, Ning Chuan joining the Heaven-Dew royal family was out of the question. If he were to join, he could only join their 7-treasure glazed tile school. This old fox, acting as if he's afraid I'll snatch Ning Chuan away and telling me not to recruit him, who is he trying to fool? Qian Rengsu cursed inwardly, but on the surface she remained calm. I understand, teacher. Thank you for your guidance. Ning Fengzhai saw her agree and nodded with satisfaction, continuing. However, Grandmaster Louise can be brought over. More importantly, it's her inherent wisdom. To be able to teach a disciple like Ning Chuan is by no means simple. If anyone can win her over, then they will be able to gain the world in the future. Chapter 130. The Soul Master competition begins. He who possesses Master Louise possesses the world. The words originally used by Ning Fengzhai to describe Yu Xiaogang were now used to describe Louise. The day after Ning Fengzhai and Zhu King left, Yilingeling finally returned. She also brought her father, Yi Rengxin. Similar to Ning Fengzhai, Yi Rengxin also specifically came to thank Ning Chuan. However, his method of expressing gratitude was different from Ning Fengzhai's. Instead, amidst Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong's desire to kill, Louise's satisfaction, Mona's meaningful gaze, and the admiration of Yu Feng, Oslo, and the Shi brothers, he directly and straightforwardly agreed to the marriage between Yilingeling and Ning Chuan. This caused Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing to be sulky with Ning Chuan for quite some time. Of course, it was mainly Zhu Zhuqing who was sulking. As for Ning Rongrong, she would occasionally sneak over. On the third day, under Louise's persuasion and Ning Chuan's sincere apology, and given Yilingeling's good relationship with Zhu Zhuqing finally reluctantly accepted. At this time, Heaven-Dew Royal Academy, or more accurately, the Shrek team, gained a new student. Ning Tao, one of Ning Rongrong's many brothers with the best talent, had just turned 24, but his spirit power had already broken through level 40. He was a support system spirit ancestor. From him, Ning Chuan learned that this was Ning Fengzhai's intention. This made Ning Chuan once again reevaluate Ning Fengzhai. He was truly hedging his bets. However, that old man probably would never understand the principle of losing both ways when hedging bets. In the following days, the main team members of Heaven-Dew Royal Academy, led by Louise, began tactical drills, especially the newly joined Shi brothers, Yu Feng and Oslo. Ning Chuan, Zhu Zhuqing, Yilingeling, and Ning Rongrong had already developed an intimate and seamless coordination after 2 years of experience. But these four were still unable to quickly become familiar with Ning Chuan and the others' fighting style. Although Ning Chuan had never truly relied on them, he also couldn't let them become a burden. Most importantly, Yilingeling and Ning Rongrong would not be appearing before the finals began. Ning Chuan needed to take Zhu Zhuqing, these four, and a minor character from the original Heaven-Dew Royal Academy subteam to complete the preliminaries. The brief few days quickly passed. Heaven-Dew City, the imperial capital of Heaven-Dew City. As the largest Great Spirit Arena in the Heaven-Dew Empire, the Heaven-Dew City Great Spirit Arena was chosen as the venue for the Heaven-Dew Empire region of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament. Early in the morning, it was already packed with people. Centered around the Heaven-Dew City Great Spirit Arena, nearly 1/3 of Heaven-Dew City was a scene of deserted streets, as if everyone had gone to the arena. Starting a few days before the competition, all levels of hotels in Heaven-Dew City were already fully booked. However, the participating teams didn't need to worry about this, as the Heaven-Dew royal family would arrange their accommodation. Among them, the main team of Heaven-Dew Royal Academy, where Ning Chuan was even arranged in a fully equipped luxurious courtyard. In such a prime location, arranging a courtyard for them showed the Heaven-Do royal family's importance. Not only that, the Heaven-Do royal family also prepared battle suits for each of them. These battle suits, each set, were custom-made according to their stature and physique. The words Heaven-Do were embroidered on the left chest, and on the back was a 7 silver star pattern, the symbol of the Heaven-Do Empire. Wearing them, they all looked heroic and felt exceptionally comfortable. And they were very flexible, so they wouldn't tear when a spirit possessed them, eliminating any worry about clothes bursting. In contrast, the Heaven-Do Royal Academy sub-team, the Shrek team, was quite shabby. It wasn't that the Heaven-Do royal family didn't customize them, but Flender chose to take the cash equivalent and wear his own customized clothes. Although the words Heaven-Do were still inlaid on their chests, the color of their clothes had turned a disgusting green. And besides the Shrek Academy emblem on their backs, everyone was covered in small advertisements. When the 2 teams from Heaven-Do Royal Academy entered the crowd, they immediately attracted widespread attention. However, the focus of this attention was slightly different. The main team of Heaven-Do Royal Academy looked heroic in their attire, especially Ning Chuan, Yi Lingling, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong, and Yu Feng, who were considered the face of the new royal fight team. Upon entering, they attracted a large number of appreciative gazes from the audience. In contrast, the Shrek team was a collection of oddballs. Not only were they all wearing disgusting green clothes, but some of them were also extremely unsightly, with Tang San being the foremost among them. He looked like a bear, and he was hunchbacked. He was arguably the ugliest man in the entire arena. Then there was Dai Mubai, who looked neither male nor female. There were even rumors that he was an eunuch, just like Prince Zhu Beng. Finally, there was Ma Hongjun, that dead fatty. As soon as he entered, his lecherous eyes darted around, making it hard not to provoke the disgust of others. Even the members of the new royal fight team couldn't help but crack up when they saw this scene. This is hilarious. Did they just crawl out of a latrine? Ning Rongrong laughed so hard her breasts hurt. Disgusting. Zhu Zhuqing uttered 2 words with a cold expression. Indeed, quite disgusting. Yi Lingling seconded. The Shi brothers, Oslo, and Yu Feng looked at Yu Tianheng, who was standing with the Shrek team and also wearing disgusting green clothes, with great sympathy. Yu Feng said, "It must be quite difficult for him to have such an uncle." Oslo and the Shi brothers nodded in deep agreement. "Luckily, I'm no longer on the sub-team." This last sentence was spoken by the minor character from the original Heaven-Do Royal Academy sub-team. He looked at his former teammates following behind him, his face full of relief. "All right, let's go in quickly. My teacher and teacher Mona should have already registered." Ning Chuan was never surprised by such a situation. After all, he knew that Flender was never one to be subservient. Participating under the name of the Heaven-Do Royal Academy sub-team, this time was just a means to an end. To make a name for Shrek Academy, if they managed to acquire enough funds and gain fame this time, there was a high chance he would go out on his own again and re-establish Shrek. "It's you, Han Lai." Just then, an angry voice came. The other members of the new royal fight team didn't feel anything, but Yi Lingling, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong knew that Ning Chuan often used this alias. They all looked in the direction of the voice simultaneously. It was the student from Kanghui Academy whom they had encountered when they went to the Star-Do Great Forest to help Oscar acquire his 3rd spirit ring. "I didn't expect to meet an old acquaintance here. It's truly a surprise, but I'm not called Han Lai." Ning Chuan's mocking and playful expression was undisguised. As things stood, he no longer needed to fear Shi Nian. Not to mention, his bodyguard Lu Jiansheng had already arrived last night. Even Ning Chuan's current strength was enough to kill Shi Nian. Chapter 131. The Shrek people are frightened. I am Lai Feiyu. Today was the opening ceremony of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament. Since Ning Chuan had nothing better to do, he started to play tricks on the Kanghui Academy group. The person from earlier, not understanding, angrily said, "So, you're Lai Feiyu. You used a fake name back then, and even made up some Tianan Academy, making us search everywhere for nothing. so you are from Heavendew Royal Academy. PFFT, it would have been better if the other party hadn't called out. Once he did, Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong, who were behind Ning Chuan, couldn't help but laugh. Even Tang San and the others, standing nearby in their dung-green clothes, did the same. However, from what the other party said, it seemed they had indeed gone looking for them, which made many of them think deeply and feel a chill. The former royal fight team and the members of the sub-team were confused. After some inquiry, they finally learned about what happened in the small town near the Stardew Great Forest back then. For a moment, they all burst into laughter, looking at the people from Kanghui Academy as if they were watching a group of clowns. The people from Kanghui Academy then realized they had been tricked again, and their faces immediately turned red, their lungs practically bursting with rage. Seeing that Ning Chuan's group was not to be trifled with, and was the main team of Heavendew Royal Academy, they unanimously turned their attention to Shrek. What does this have to do with you feces-like people? Don't even look at what kind of trash you are, dressed like maggots crawling out of a latrine. I think they're even worse than maggots. No wonder, despite also being from Heavendew Royal Academy, that Guy Lai Feiyu went to the main team while you few. Yes, I'm talking about you few, Jia Neiliang, Wu Yifan, Chang Gongmiao. I see one of you looks like he's overindulged, one has a deadpan face like his wife ran off with someone. And that last black bear, yes, I'm talking about you, Chang Gongmiao. Could it be that you three were eliminated by the main team and ran off to the sub-team? Listening to the mockery from the Kanghui Academy people, it was now Ma Hongjun, Oscar, and Tang San's turn to get heated. What did you say? Ma Hongjun roared in anger. Tang San's eyes showed killing intent. He hated being called a black bear the most, especially in front of Xiao Wu. In his opinion, the people from Kanghui Academy had already sealed their own deaths. Just then, an old man about 60 years old walked over. What are you all doing? Dressed in a moon-white spirit master's attire with golden embroidery. Who else could it be but Shinayan? However, Shinayan didn't say anything. He merely glanced at Ma Hongjun indifferently and led the people from Kanghui Academy into the Great Spirit Arena. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up Comment Speech Balloon, Share Bell Infinite Novel Audio. Ma Hongjun thought the other party was scared and wanted to continue yelling. But Ning Chuan's voice came to his ear. I have to say, you're quite brave to dare to insult that Shinayan to his face. I hope when you're alone and he comes looking for you, you can still be this tough. Shinayan. Hearing that name, Ma Hongjun's pupils suddenly contracted, and he immediately shut his mouth. Tang San, Oscar, and the others' expressions also instantly turned ugly. Although they didn't know Shinayan, they had learned from Ning Chuan that he was a spirit saint, whose hobby was hunting down excellent students participating in the Soul Master competition. Flender, who had just returned from registering the Shrek team, happened to hear Ning Chuan's words and also realized the seriousness of the situation. He turned to the Shrek members and said, "For safety's sake, do not get separated during the competition." The Shrek members naturally dared not joke with their lives and nodded heavily in unison. And Ning Chuan wasn't acting out of kindness. After all, Ning Rongrong's illusion space skull was still attached to Shinayan's forehead, and he had to find a way to get it back. After saying this, he led the Shrek members into the arena. A moment later, Louise and Mona also returned after registering. The new Royal Fight members, led by them, walked into the Great Spirit Arena. After being renovated, the Heavendew Great Spirit Arena had become a huge, open, enclosed square. Around the square were countless spectators. In front of the square was a white gold rostrum, and behind the rostrum was the renovated VIP area. And on this rostrum, naturally, not just anyone could sit. One had to be an empire dignitary or a representative of a major power. Even Prince Zhu Xing and the Education Committee could only sit in the second row. Only 3 people sat in the first row. They were Emperor Zhu Yi of the Heavendew Empire, Sect Master Ning Fengjai of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, and Platinum Bishop Sarah's of the Spirit Hall's Heavendew City Spirit Hall. Emperor Zhu Yi was in the center, Ning Fengjai was on the right, and Sarah's was on the left. The MC, who was the commentator for the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament, stood on the right, not far from Ning Fengzhai. After waiting for a while in the rest area outside the square, everyone entered in succession, led by staff members. The new Royal Fight Team, where Ning Chuan was, as the main team of Heavendu Royal Academy, represented the face of the Heavendu Empire and was naturally the first to enter. First to enter are our Heavendu Empire's participating teams, the Heavendu Royal Academy's main team. To seek fairness in the competition and for the glory of the Empire, they voluntarily gave up their guaranteed spot and are participating in the preliminaries under the name of the new Royal Fight Team, choosing to prove themselves with strength. Look, standing at the very front is Grandmaster Louise. She is the leader of our new Royal Fight Team and also the chief instructor of the Heavendu Empire Soul Master Legion, personally appointed by our great Emperor Zhu Yi. Standing with her is her disciple, and also the captain of our new Royal Fight Team, Ning Chuan. He is a level 48 attack system battle spirit ancestor, and he holds the highest spirit power record in our Heavendu competition zone since the start of the Soul Master competition, and is also the youngest spirit ancestor in the Spirit Masters world's history. When Grandmaster Louise was introduced earlier, everyone was still a bit confused, not knowing why Emperor Zhu Yi appointed Louise as the chief instructor of the Heavendu Empire Soul Master Legion. After all, before this, Louise had no fame whatsoever. However, when Ning Chuan was introduced, the entire venue completely erupted. The youngest spirit ancestor in the history of the Spirit Masters world, this carried extremely high value. This meant that his age when he advanced to spirit ancestor was earlier than all those long famous figures in the Spirit Masters world. And this Grandmaster Louise was actually able to teach such a disciple. No wonder she could be appointed as the chief instructor of the Heavendu Empire Soul Master Legion by Emperor Zhu Yi. This position was well-deserved. The name Grandmaster Louise was also well-deserved. Compared to others, the reactions of the Shrek members varied. Fortunately, Xiao Gang isn't here. Flender's face showed a bitter smile. He was extremely glad that Yu Xiaogang wasn't here. Otherwise, seeing this Grandmaster Louise achieve the accomplishment he had dreamed of, he didn't know what he would feel. Immediately after came the complaints. If Tang Hao hadn't forced Ning Chuan to leave Shrek back then, this honor today would surely have been partly theirs, Shrek's. In the future, they could tell others that the youngest spirit ancestor in the history of the Spirit Masters world came from their Shrek Academy. Tang San, Ma Hongjun, Oscar, and Dai Mubai, on the other hand, were shocked. Chapter 132 Differential Treatment. His spirit power actually reached 48th rank. Ma Hongjun exclaimed directly. He originally thought that ever since Tang Hao took Tang San out to resolve the spirit's side effects, his spirit power had soared to 35th rank, already surpassing Ning Chuan. At worst, the two of them were evenly matched. He never expected Ning Chuan's cultivation to have reached such a terrifying level. What's going on? The speed of this spirit power increase is simply too outrageous. Damn it, he's actually become this strong. Oscar and Dai Mubai's expressions were equally unpleasant. Especially Dai Mubai, who had thought that he could use his and Tang San's martial soul fusion skill in this Soul Master competition to redeem himself. Now, the opponent's spirit power had reached such an absurd level. Whether their fusion skill could defeat the opponent was still unknown. As for Tang San, from the moment the MC introduced Ning Chuan and stated that Ning Chuan's spirit power had reached 48th rank, he hadn't spoken another word. He just stared intently at Ning Chuan, his fists clenched, gritting his teeth in his heart. Ning Chuan, just how strong have you become? Besides the Shrek 4 freaks, including Yu Tianheng and Ning Rongrong's brother Ning Tao, the other members of Shrek also looked equally displeased. Every single one of them frowned. After all, Ning Chuan was also their upcoming opponent. There were also those who were happy, like Xiao Wu. She looked at the center of attention, Ning Chuan, with an almost adoring gaze, genuinely happy for him in her heart. Little Six, congratulations. Next, the MC introduced the other members of the new Royal Fight team, but did not mention their cultivation levels. After all, the organizers cannot disclose information about participating teams. You can only gather it through observation to formulate a battle plan. The previous introduction of Ning Chuan's cultivation was an exception. After introducing the new Royal Fight team, to many people's surprise, the second team to enter was not the Shrek team, who were the vice-captains of Heaven-Du Royal Academy. Instead, it was Wind Spirit Academy, Thunder Academy, Blazing Academy, Tianshui Academy, and Elephant Armor Academy. Even the people from Kanghui Academy were ranked ahead of the Shrek team. Clearly, the high-ranking officials of the Heaven-Du Empire, as the organizers, were reprimanding the Shrek team. After all, none of them were fools. How could they not see such an obvious act of borrowing a chicken to lay eggs? Furthermore, even if you were borrowing a chicken to lay eggs and could bring honor to the Heaven-Du Empire, we wouldn't say anything. But what's with these disgusting shit-green clothes you're wearing, covered in advertisements? It's simply a disgrace to the nation. As a punishment, the Shrek team was directly left until last. Just like in the original story, they entered last. The MC didn't even refer to them as the vice-captains of Heaven-Du Royal Academy. And this was naturally Prince Zhu Xing's idea, as he personally arranged the venue, and the MC was also his person. Grandmaster Meng Shenji, realizing what was happening, looked furiously at Zhu Xing. "Prince Zhu Xing, you." Prince Zhu Xing glanced at Emperor Zhu Yi, who was sitting in front, and seeing no reaction from him, knew that the emperor also harbored dissatisfaction with the Shrek team's actions. So he leisurely said, "The Shrek team is participating under the name of Shrek Academy, supporting Heaven-Du Royal Academy. They themselves do not acknowledge being a team of Heaven-Du Royal Academy, so why should our Heaven-Du Royal Academy acknowledge them? Moreover, the disgusting clothes they are wearing are simply a disgrace to the nation." Grandmaster Meng Shenji was left speechless, only able to utter, "You will regret this." "Grandmaster Meng Shenji, don't forget, I am the prince," Prince Zhu Xing retorted without backing down. At the same time, listening to the MC's introduction, the spectators in the stands and the participating teams burst into laughter, especially the group from Kanghui Academy. To be honest, when they heard that Ning Chuan's spirit power had reached 48th rank, it truly gave them a huge fright. At the same time, they also realized that Han Lai and Lai Feiyu were all fake, just a trick to deceive them. However, when it came to the Shrek group, they all showed unkind smiles. After all, bullying the weak and fearing the strong is practically ingrained in everyone's bones. Undoubtedly, in the eyes of the Kanghui Academy members, the Shrek group was an easy target to bully. Damn it, I'm so angry. A sharp, delicate shout rang out, and Dai Mubai was on the verge of exploding, especially facing the ugly faces of those guys from Kanghui Academy. It made him almost frantic. Tang San was also very angry, but he held back. He patted Dai Mubai's shoulder and said coldly, "Mubai, bear with it a little longer. During the competition, we will use our strength to make them shut up, and those high-ranking officials of the Heaven-Du Empire, I want them to regret today's differential treatment." Dai Mubai turned and looked down at Tang San, whose height only reached his chest, and his expression softened considerably for a moment. Good. The Shrek members saw this scene, and strange looks appeared on all their faces. Tang San clearly liked Xiao Wu, but it seemed that Dai Mubai and he looked more like a couple. Perhaps it was just an illusion. Finally, all the participating teams had entered. The new Royal Fight team was in the first position. The Shrek team was placed at the very end. The MC at the VIP stand spoke again, announcing loudly, "Now, please welcome His Majesty, the Emperor of our Heaven-Du Empire, to declare the opening of this competition." Amidst applause that sounded like a mountain roaring and a sea raging, Emperor Zhu Yi slowly stood up. "I, Zhu Yi, Emperor of the Heaven-Du Empire, officially declare the opening of this all-continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament." Thunderous applause erupted again. After the applause subsided, Emperor Zhu Yi delivered another uninspired speech. Finally, he looked at the new Royal Fight team standing in the first row of the participating teams. You are all the pride of the Heaven-Do Empire. For the glory of the empire, display your brilliance." After Zhu Yi returned to his seat, the MC's voice rang out again. "It seems His Majesty the Emperor has high hopes for our new royal fight team. Next, please welcome the sect master of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, School Master Ning Fengjai, to give a speech for this competition." Like Emperor Zhu Yi, Ning Fengjai's speech was also uninspired, but it also drew thunderous applause. Of course, he also extended goodwill to the new royal fight team, just like Emperor Zhu Yi. However, he was reserved. He did not explicitly state which team would win the final championship, only saying that the championship belonged to the Heaven-Do Empire. A moment later, amidst the impatience of Platinum Bishop Sarah's, the preliminary round draw began. Due to the addition of the new royal fight team, the Heaven-Do Empire division went from 28 teams to 29. This meant that someone would have a bye in each round of the competition. The team with a bye naturally received 1 point. For the other participating teams, 1 point was awarded for each victory, and no points were awarded for a loss. Finally, the 6 teams with the top 6 scores would advance to the finals. Of course, during this period, they would definitely participate in the promotion matches, but these promotion matches did not affect participation in the finals. They were merely events for various Spirit Master teams to engage in one-on-one battles to showcase individual strength. Chapter 133, Shrek, and the new Emperor's opponent at the same time. To show the fairness of the competition, Bishop Salas announced each pair of teams drawn by the Master of Ceremonies on the spot. Preliminary Round 1, Kanghui Academy vs. Auto Academy. Preliminary Round 1, Thunder Academy vs. Loss Academy. Preliminary Round 1, New Royal Fight Team vs. Elephant Armor Academy. Preliminary Round 1, Shrek Team vs. Blue Tyrant Academy. Tianshui Academy receives a bye. Ning Chuan didn't pay much attention to the other academies' matchups, only focusing on his opponents and Shrek's. The group of simple-minded individuals from Elephant Armor Academy, needless to say, were just living targets for him. But Shrek facing Blue Tyrant Academy surprised him a little. Should he say they were fated rivals? Even like this, they could still run into each other. Flender instructed, "Little San Mubai, when you go on stage later, go easy on the people from Blue Tyrant Academy, don't go too far." Tang San frowned while Dai Mubai directly asked, "Why, Dean?" "They seem to have participated in mocking us just now." Everyone else also showed puzzled expressions. They were already seething with anger, and for Blue Tyrant Academy to meet them, it could only be considered those guys' bad luck. How could they hold back? "The Dean of Blue Tyrant Academy is a friend of mine and Grandmaster. In short, just exercise some restraint when you make your move," Flender instructed again. The Shrek members were stunned in unison. The Dean and that good-for-nothing Yu Xiaogang's friend, fine, they would give the Dean some face. As for that good-for-nothing Yu Xiaogang, who cared about him? After the draw was completed, Bishop Salas finally spoke. "I hereby announce that anyone who can enter the final championship will be exceptionally permitted by Spirit Hall to directly join the Spirit Saint Palace." As soon as these words came out, the whole place erupted in an uproar, especially those participating Spirit Masters. They were already boiling with excitement. One should know that the Spirit Saint Palace was in existence second only to the Supreme Pontiff Palace, the Elder Palace, and the Douluo Palace. For most Spirit Masters, it was a shortcut to improving their strength and a symbol of honor. In the future, they might even have a chance to enter the even more exalted Supreme Pontiff Palace. Take Sarah's himself, for example. His innate spirit power was only level 5, yet under the cultivation of Spirit Hall, he reached Spirit Douluo. This was a height that many geniuses with innate spirit power of 7 or 8 levels had not achieved. One wave had not settled when another rose. Sarah's spoke again, this time his gaze directly fixed on Ning Chuan. "Ning Chuan, if you can join Spirit Hall, I will directly recommend you to join the Supreme Pontiff Palace and meet our great Your Majesty, the Pope." As soon as these words came out, the whole place was once again in an uproar, and Emperor Zhu Yi of Heaven-Do Empire, whose face was already unsightly, completely darkened. In his Heaven Do Empire, he was openly recruiting their Heaven Do Empire's excellent spirit masters, and right in front of him. That was bad enough. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up Comment Speech Balloon, Share Bell Infinite Novel Audio now. He was even brazenly recruiting the captain of their Heaven Do Royal Academy's main team. This was simply outrageous. Your Majesty, rest assured, with the relationship between my daughter, King, and Ning Chuan, he will absolutely not join Spirit Hall. Only after hearing Ning Fengzhai's spirit power transmission did Emperor Zhu Yi's expression improve significantly. In fact, Ning Chuan indeed would not agree. Thank you for Bishop Salaz's kindness, but Ning Chuan is accustomed to being free and undisciplined, and for now, he has no intention of joining any force. Upon hearing this, Sarah said nothing more. He merely sat back in his original seat with an expressionless face. At the same time, he pondered, according to the young master's message, Ning Chuan is someone who is unwilling to be subservient to others, so it is reasonable that he would not join Spirit Hall. I just don't know how the young master plans to recruit him. What Sarah's didn't know was that in Qian Rengsu's mind, Ning Chuan had a weakness, and it was very obvious. He was a philanderer who liked beautiful women. That old fellow Ning Fengzhai relied on his daughter to establish a nephew-like relationship with him. Unlike her, who relied on her personal charm, to recruit Ning Chuan, one needed to prescribe the right medicine. She had already thought of a strategy to recruit Ning Chuan. However, whether Ning Chuan was worthy of her recruitment still depended on his performance in this all-continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament. At this moment, the Master of Ceremonies spoke again. Next, we will proceed with Preliminary Round 1, the first and second matches. These will be the new Royal Fight Team versus Elephant Armor Academy, and the Shrek Team versus Blue Tyrant Academy. As soon as these words came out, the viewing stands immediately buzzed with discussion. They could understand the new Royal Fight Team being on stage at the opening ceremony. After all, they were the team representing Heaven Do Royal Academy. In previous opening ceremonies, it was always the Heaven Do Royal Academy's vice team that participated. But this year, the main team was on stage. The vice team wasn't on stage, and they hadn't even heard of them participating. Instead, this Shrek team, which didn't even have an academy name, was on stage. Could they be? Some sharp-eyed individuals saw the words Heaven Do on the chest of the Shrek team's shit-green uniforms, and gradually a guess formed in their minds. Zia Chuan, you can arrange it. Louise looked at Ning Chuan. Although she was the leader of the new Royal Fight Team, she knew her own capabilities. What she could teach Ning Chuan had already been taught when she helped Ning Chuan obtain his first spirit ring. After that, Ning Chuan was more like a teacher, and she was like a student, constantly growing by Ning Chuan's side, although she didn't dislike this feeling. Even during the learning process, her heart, which had not been stirred for many years, was attracted to this disciple, who was nearly 20 years younger than her. Ning Chuan nodded and looked at the new Royal Fight Team members, saying, Rongrong and Ling Ling will follow the old rules and only appear in the finals. Zhuking, Shimo, Yu Feng, Oslo, and that one. Captain, my name is Huang Jia. My spirit is Scattered Ghost. I am a 36th level attack system Soul Grandmaster. The member of the Heaven Do Royal Team's vice team came forward with a fawning expression. Wang Jia Scattered Ghost Jia Home, San 3, so that's it, no wonder I couldn't remember. Okay, later, all of you stand still. I'll handle this Elephant Armor Academy. It's a good chance for me to test the power of Thunder Devour. Thunder Devour Hu Feng, Oslo, and the Shi brothers swallowed hard. They had seen Ning Chuan's fourth spirit ability. Its power, that monstrous 10,000-year spirit ability, was simply an unfair existence. It was estimated that among those present, only the 7 defensive-type simple-minded individuals from Elephant Armor Academy could remain alive. Since the other academies had no matches today, they returned directly to the resting area arranged for them by the staff after leaving the arena. The Shrek Team and Blue Tyrant Academy also left. However, the 2 matches did not need to be held simultaneously. Their match was next. It wasn't long before the Master of Ceremonies loudly announced the name and spirit of each entering member of the new royal fight team. A special golden beam of light shone down from a high platform set up on one side of the Great Spirit Arena, escorting Ning Chuan and the 7 others onto the stage. This was a unique privilege of Heavendu Royal Academy. Of course, this was limited to the main team. Whether the vice team had it was unknown. After all, they didn't even acknowledge that the Shrek team was their vice team. Chapter 134 Tang-san. Impossible. Absolutely impossible compared to the grand entrance of the new royal fight team. Elephant Armor Academy was not as exaggerated. However, the organizers gave them enough importance. As they ascended the stage, their names and spirits were introduced individually. Their eye-catching entrance was no less impressive than that of the new royal fight team, because the 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy team didn't look like people at all. They looked like 7 mountains. 7 mountains of flesh. All dressed in black, among the 7, the shortest was over 2 meters tall and weighed over 300 pounds. The tallest was over 2.5 meters, with a terrifying weight of over 500 pounds. The moment they stepped onto the fighting stage, the entire platform trembled wildly with their footsteps. Elephant Armor Academy Team Captain, Hu Yanli Spirit, Diamond Mammoth, 43rd Level Defense System Spirit Ancestor, please advise. Hu Yanli, the captain of Elephant Armor Academy, who was the one in the middle over 2.5 meters tall and over 500 pounds, was quite polite. As soon as he came up, he reported his name, spirit, and spirit power level. Ning Chuan had always been one to respond to softness, not toughness. Seeing this, he smiled slightly, stepped forward, and said, New Royal Fight Team Captain, Ning Chuan Spirit. Azure Bamboo Bee Cloud Sword, 48th Level Attack System Spirit Ancestor, please advise. Both sides salute. Non-participants step down from the arena. At the host's signal, both sides cupped their fists in salute to each other, and the extra team members stepped down from the arena. Only the participants for the first match of the preliminaries remained. On the new Royal Fight Team side, only Ning Chuan stood at the very front, with Zhu Zhuking, Shi Mo, Yu Feng, Oslo, and Huang Jia lined up behind him. Elephant Armor Academy, on the other hand, had all 7 members standing side by side in front, like a city wall, blocking the new Royal Fight Team's view. On the VIP stand, Ning Fengzhai looked at the mountains of flesh from Elephant Armor Academy, his brows slightly furrowed, a hint of worry flashing in his eyes. He could tell that Elephant Armor Academy was not simple. If it were in an open area, it would be fine. But fighting in a location with restricted combat areas like the fighting stage, Elephant Armor Academy's strength was undoubtedly maximized. He feared that the new Royal Fight Team would not have it easy to win. Emperor Zhu Yi, sitting in the center, still looked calm and composed. He glanced at Ning Fengzhai, smiled slightly, and said, Schoolmaster Ning, rest assured this first match will be without suspense. Your Majesty is right, Ning Fengzhai echoed with a smile. Bishop Salas on the other side glanced at the two of them and said nothing, just looking thoughtful. There were a total of 5 fighting stages for the preliminaries. Aside from the 2 matches at the opening ceremony, all other matches would proceed 5 by 5 simultaneously. Now, both sides have 1 minute to summon their spirits. After 1 minute, the first round of the preliminaries' first match will officially begin. At the referee's signal, the new Royal Fight Team and Elephant Armor Academy participants on the central main fighting stage simultaneously release their spirits. Diamond Mammoth possess. X7, the 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy team quickly stood in a line. Then they stripped off their upper clothing and transformed into elephant-headed, human-bodied non-human beings. Among the 7, including Captain Hu Yanli, the 3 in the middle all had 4 spirit rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, while the 4 beside them had 3, 2 yellow, 1 purple. From their spirit power fluctuations, it was not difficult to tell that these individuals' spirit power was also extremely close to level 40, 3 spirit ancestors, and 4 spirit elders nearing spirit ancestor level. Such a lineup made it understandable why Ning Fengjai was worried. However, this worry quickly vanished. Yellow, purple, purple, black, 4 extremely exaggerated spirit ring configurations brilliantly appeared on Ning Chuan's body. Zhu Zhuqing and the Shi brothers, standing behind him, also each released 4 spirit rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. The powerful aura released by these 4 individuals actually faintly surpassed that of the 7 members of Elephant Armor Academy opposite them, after Yu Feng, Oslo, and Huang Jia, who was there to fill out the numbers. Also each released 3 spirit rings, 2 yellow, 1 purple. They even directly suppressed Hu Yanli and the other 7. However, at this moment, no one was paying attention to these things anymore. Everyone's gaze was now focused on Ning Chuan, their eyes unblinking. A 1,000-year second ring, a 10,000-year fourth ring. Everyone knew what this meant. It meant that Ning Chuan had completely broken the norm, especially those high-level spirit masters who had absorbed 10,000-year spirit rings. A 1,000-year second ring was already exaggerated enough. A 10,000-year fourth spirit ring was even more terrifying. One must know that a 10,000-year spirit ring still carried the soul shock left behind by the spirit beast after death. It wasn't something that could be obtained just by having a strong enough physique. Not only the audience stands and VIP section, but even the resting areas of the various participating academies were filled with exclamations. Who would have thought that a 10,000-year spirit ring would appear in a participating team during these preliminaries, especially Shrek? Their expressions were truly something to behold. They had heard Ning Chuan say he would obtain a 10,000-year fourth ring, but knowing it was one thing, seeing it with their own eyes was another. Ning Chuan's strength was already formidable. Now, with this 10,000-year fourth ring, would they still be his opponents? Tang Xin almost bit his tongue, unable to control his emotions, shouting, "Impossible, absolutely impossible." He actually absorbed a 10,000-year fourth ring. One must know that his blue-silver grass's fourth spirit ring was only around 6,500 years old. This was also because his second spirit had absorbed 2,000-year power-type spirit rings, making his physical quality far surpass spirit masters of the same level. Ning Chuan only had a single spirit. How could he possibly have succeeded in absorbing a 10,000-year spirit ring? Dai Mubai's expression was even uglier than Tang San's. He was almost grinding his teeth. Not just Ning Chuan, that slut Zhu Zhuqing has also advanced to spirit ancestor. Flender closed his eyes in pain. This should have been the glory of our Shrek Academy. If not for, he wanted to say, if Tang Hao hadn't forced Ning Chuan away, then his Shrek team would now have the best lineup. Yes. In Flender's heart, Ning Chuan, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong, Tang San, Dai Mubai, Xiao Wu, Ma Hongjun, and Oscar were Shrek's best lineup. With these 8 people. At that time, let alone achieving a ranking in the All-Continent Advanced Spirit Master Academy tournament. Even the championship would probably be within reach. Unfortunately, all of this was ruined by Tang Hao. Even Ning Fengjai, sect master of 7 treasure-glazed tile school, who had already thought highly of Ning Chuan, was greatly astonished. Now he finally understood why Emperor Zhu Yi was so calm. If he had known Ning Chuan had such strength earlier, he certainly wouldn't have worried. Although Emperor Zhu Yi had known for a long time, seeing it for the first time, a hint of admiration still flashed in his eyes. He smiled at Ning Fengjai and Bishop Salas and said, "School Master Ning, Bishop Salas, how do you find the strength of our Heaven-Do Royal Academy's participating team this year?" Bishop Salas gave a light him, saying nothing more, but a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. "Your Majesty is absolutely right." Ning Fengjai, after a brief moment of shock, had already returned to normal. After smiling and replying to Emperor Zhu Yi, his gaze turned towards Ning Rongrong in the new Royal Fight Team's resting area. Chapter 135. The first kill of the evil-repelling Divine Thunder. At this moment, Ning Rongrong was looking at Ning Chuan, who was the center of attention on the stage, with a look of infatuation, her eyes full of little stars, almost melting. School Master Ning thought to himself. Rongrong, the honor and decline of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school rest entirely on your shoulders. At the same time, the competition on the central main soul fighting stage had already begun. The 7 meat mountains opposite Ning Chuan felt the pressure from the new royal fight team and dared not be careless in the slightest. The 3 spirit ancestors and 4 spirit elders, with a total of 24 spirit rings on their bodies, all lit up at once. Under the enhancement of these 24 defense system spirit rings, the 7 meat mountains seemed to merge into one giant meat mountain. Faintly, the illusory image of a diamond mammoth could be seen within, and then they charged directly towards the new royal fight team, led by Ning Chuan, on the opposite side. This scene made many people nod in approval. The Elephant Armor Academy's approach was clearly correct, because the overall strength of the new royal fight team was significantly higher than theirs. If they held back their strength, they would undoubtedly lose very badly. Going all out, however, still offered a slim chance of winning. Just as everyone was imagining how the new royal fight team would respond, Ning Chuan had already moved. He was seen gripping the azure bamboo becloud sword with both hands, and the black halo around his body quietly lit up. Ning Chuan darted out like an arrow, his entire being transforming into a pale golden lightning bolt, soaring towards the giant meat mountain. The others, from beginning to end, did not move in the slightest. The next moment, something that stunned many people occurred. The imagined scene of a dragon and tiger fighting did not happen. Facing Ning Chuan's 10,000-year spirit ability, which transformed him into lightning, the Elephant Armor Academy's 7 members' iron barrel-like defense collapsed almost instantly upon contact. Wah! Amidst the screams of the 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy, the pale golden lightning exploded with a crackling sound. Pale golden electric arcs rapidly spread, and the diamond mammoth illusory image protective shield formed by the 3 spirit ancestors and 4 spirit elders of the Elephant Armor Academy vanished under these electric arcs. The remaining pale golden electric arcs landed on their bodies, directly charring them black, making their hair stand on end. One by one, they all fell to the ground, eyes rolled back, smoke coming from their mouths, and lost consciousness. Almost all the spectators gasped, the entire venue was silent, and the surroundings were dead quiet, instant kill. Without a doubt, this was an instant kill, completed by Ning Chuan alone and well-deserved. The 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy, including Captain Hu Yanli, despite using their full strength, were instantly killed by Ning Chuan's pale golden electric arc, derived from his 10,000-year 4th spirit ring, in just one exchange. Is this still the strength a spirit ancestor can possess? Even an attack system spirit saint who has unleashed their spirit avatar might not be much more than this. It was truly astonishing. The Elephant Armor Academy's teacher approached the referee with a grim expression and whispered a few words. Only then did the referee recover from his shock. He stepped forward and examined the 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy, finding that they were only stunned by the electricity and had not suffered much injury. Only then, under the relieved gaze of the Elephant Armor Academy's teacher, did he loudly announce, "Preliminary Round 1, Match 1, New Royal Fight Team wins." After all, killing was not allowed in the Soul Master competition. If something had happened to the 7 members of the Elephant Armor Academy, it would not have been good for anyone. Fortunately, Ning Chuan acted with a sense of proportion. At the same time, a huge cheer erupted from the audience. The new royal fight team represented the Heaven Dew Empire, and the vast majority of people present were citizens of the Heaven Dew Empire. Now that the captain of the new royal fight team had displayed overwhelming strength and decisively defeated his opponent, they were naturally overjoyed. Emperor Zhu Yi was in an even better mood. Ever since Spirit Hall had grown increasingly powerful, even threatening the Heaven Dew Empire, he had not been this happy in a long time. However, as the Emperor of the Heaven Dew Empire, he did not show too much complacency. He turned his gaze to Ning Fengzhai and said, "Sect Master Ning, Ning Chuan's 4th spirit ability is quite extraordinary. To be able to instantly defeat 7 strong members of the Elephant Armor Academy is truly incredible. Ning Fengjai subtly glanced at Sarah's, saw that his gaze had never left Ning Chuan, and scoffed inwardly, then replied indifferently. Indeed, but this should have a factor of attribute suppression. Although the Elephant Armor Academy members all have strong defenses, their attached spirit rings are basically earth attribute, which are naturally suppressed by lightning. Of course, the power of Ning Chuan's 4th spirit ability is also beyond doubt. The evil-warding divine lightning was beyond the understanding of the Douluo Continent, so he attributed Ning Chuan's power to attribute suppression. Emperor Zhu Yi nodded, indicating his agreement. Then he heard Ning Fengjai say, "Your Majesty, next up is the Heaven Du Royal Academy's vice-captain. I'm sure they will not disappoint your Majesty either." Prince Zhu Xing, sitting beside Emperor Zhu Yi, said indignantly, "Sect Master Ning, don't speak too soon. Lest you make a fool of yourself and drag down the reputation of our Heaven Du Empire." Emperor Zhu Yi reprimanded him. "Zhu Xing, you must not be rude to Sect Master Ning. Since he thinks highly of the Shrek team, he must have his reasons." "Yes, Imperial brother." Hearing this, Prince Zhu Xing stopped speaking, and while Emperor Zhu Yi paid attention to the new royal fight team, the Shrek team naturally also caught his attention. It was just that, compared to the new royal fight team, they weren't given as much importance. It wasn't that no one from the Shrek team caught his eye. It was truly because Clear Sky Douluo, who was suspected of killing Douluo, had his son Tang-san in the Shrek team. Douluo, at least, was a guest elder of their Heaven Du Empire during his lifetime. Although Tang Hao had already come forward to clarify. But it was only one side of the story. If too much importance were given to Shrek, it would easily dampen the spirits of those spirit masters loyal to their Heaven Du Empire. Therefore, regarding whether Douluo was killed by Tang Hao, although Emperor Zhu Yi did not pursue it much, he also did not give the Shrek team preferential treatment. However, on the other hand, Douluo was already dead, and their Heaven Du royal family could not offend another, even more powerful titled Douluo for Douluo's sake. The resting area specifically provided for the new royal fight team. "Ning Chuan, you are truly amazing." As soon as she arrived, Ning Rongrong excitedly pounced into Ning Chuan's arms and gave him a sweet kiss. Ning Chuan smiled slightly and said, "Rongrong, this is a public place, be careful. Also, your father is watching you." Hearing this, Ning Rongrong subconsciously looked towards the VIP stand and met Ning Fengjai's gaze, immediately shrinking back in fright. However, upon seeing that the other party was not angry, but rather smiling and giving her a look of encouragement, Ning Rongrong once again became very bold. She directly hooked her arm through Ning Chuan's, pouting, "Let him watch anyway. My father definitely won't object to us being together." The Shrek team's resting area was near the new royal fight team's resting area. Seeing this scene, Oscar was almost driven mad with anger. He never expected their relationship to be so intimate already. They were even kissing. This was simply outrageous. Chapter 136. Poisonous chicken soup kills people. Does Ning Rongrong not know that Ning Chuan already has a girlfriend, this shameless slut? Thinking of this, Oscar couldn't help but start to hate Ning Rongrong, his love turning into hatred. He turned his gaze to Tang-san and said firmly, "Little San, we must defeat the new royal fight team." "How can it be that easy?" Ma Hongjun said with a mournful face. The rest of the Shrek people also looked worse than the last. They didn't think they had any chance of winning against the new royal fight team. After all, even the Elephant Armor Academy was instantly defeated by Ning Chuan alone. If they were hit by that strange light golden electric arc, their small arms and legs would probably fare worse than the large bodies of the Elephant Armored Academy. "We can win." Just as everyone's morale was low, Tang-san began to feed them poisonous chicken soup. He slowly stood up and said, "Ning Chuan's 4th spirit ability just now is indeed very strong. In terms of destructive power alone, it might have surpassed my and Mubai's evil eye-green tiger, but its attack range is limited. I observed just now that the attack range of that light golden electric arc is about 10 meters. As long as we spread out, his light golden electric arc won't be able to affect all of us at once. Don't forget, the more powerful a spirit ability is, the more spirit power it consumes. Without the support of a food system spirit master, Ning Chuan won't be able to use that level of powerful 10,000-year spirit ability many times. Perhaps once is the limit, and his spirit power will be unsustainable for a second time. Moreover, if Ning Chuan is strong, does that mean we are weak? Not to mention the martial soul fusion skill of Mubai and me, even Tian Heng's blue lightning tyrant dragon may not be inferior to Ning Chuan in terms of lightning attributes. Don't forget, Tian Heng, your blue lightning tyrant dragon is the #1 beast spirit in the world. Ning Chuan's is just a wood attribute spirit with a lightning attribute spirit ring added. And there's Ning Tao. Your spirit is the #1 support system spirit in the world, the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda, and you've even cultivated to the spirit ancestor realm, able to amplify our strength, speed, spirit power, and defense by 50%. Even if the new royal fight team also has the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit, with Ning Rongrong's talent and age, she can at most cultivate to spirit elder, which means she not only lacks a spirit ability to amplify defense compared to Ning Tao, but also amplifies 10% less strength, speed, and spirit power than us. The most crucial thing is that we have Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu's 4th spirit ability, Invincible True Body, can be immune to all attacks. It's enough to counter Ning Chuan's move. Plus, we have a total of 5 spirit ancestors, while the new royal fight team only has Ning Chuan, Zhu Zhuqing, and the Shi brothers, making it 4. With so many advantages, I really can't think of any reason why we would lose. Tang San's words, without a doubt, fed everyone a huge bowl of poisonous chicken soup. Most of the Shrek people took it to heart. They felt like they could do it again. Only Xiao Wu and Ning Tao were exceptions. The former would not deal with Ning Chuan for Shrek, and the latter knew that his younger sister Ning Rongrong had also broken through to spirit ancestor, and her spirit had even advanced to the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda. However, this was a secret of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, and he couldn't tell outsiders. He could only force a smile and agree. Flender was very happy to see the Shrek people regain their fighting spirit under Tang San's encouragement. He smiled and said, "I'm very happy to see you all regain your fighting spirit. However, when you face the Blue Tyrant Academy later, you can't be too heavy-handed. That's an academy founded by Mayan Grandmaster's friends." Yes, everyone nodded in agreement, but this was probably only heard by Yu Tianheng. The others, due to their SHT green uniforms and the discriminatory treatment from the Heaven Dew Empire's high-ranking officials, had long been bottling up anger and hadn't really listened. Especially Tang San and Dai Mubai, it would be fine if Blue Tyrant Academy didn't provoke them, but if they did, they wouldn't just swallow their anger. A moment later, it was the Shrek team and Blue Tyrant Academy's turn to enter the arena. The 7 members of Shrek Academy who entered were Tang San, Dai Mubai, Yu Tianheng, Xiao Wu, and 3 former Heaven Dew Royal Academy Vice Team members. On Blue Tyrant Academy's side, the 7 members of the Blue Tyrant Academy team were led by Tai Long, the grandson of Old Titan, the elder of the Lai clan. Wow, what a beautiful little girl. Just like in the original work, Tai Long was captivated by the opponent. As soon as he stepped onto the stage and looked at Xiao Wu, with just one glance, he couldn't take his eyes off her. This undoubtedly touched Tang San's inverse scale. "What are your eyes staring at?" He immediately shielded Xiao Wu and said coldly, "What does that have to do with you, you charcoal head? If you know what's good for you, don't ruin my good time, or I'll beat you to death later." Tai Long didn't put Tang San, this charcoal head, in his eyes at all. As he spoke, he didn't forget to show Xiao Wu a fawning, infatuated expression. Xiao Wu was disgusted and directly said to Tang San, "Black bro, beat him to death later, don't hold back." "Okay." Tang San readily agreed and said to Dai Mubai beside him, "Mubai, don't hold back later. Just watch." Dai Mubai was already filled with pent-up anger and desperately needed to vent. Now Tai Long even dared to offend his 3rd brother. One could only say that the other party had run into the muzzle of a gun. Ning Chuan watched the scene on the fighting arena and secretly chuckled. These Blue Tyrant Academy guys are going to be unlucky now, but I can't let Tang San off easy either. He'd just wait until they finished beating up the Blue Tyrant Academy guys, then give Tang San a taste of the new laxative. It had been a long time since Tang San had a public bowel movement. At the same time, the referee had already ascended the fighting arena. Compared to the previous match, he seemed much less interested. The second match of the preliminaries officially begins. As soon as the referee gave the order, both Blue Tyrant Academy and the Shrek team simultaneously summoned their spirits. The spirit ring configuration on Blue Tyrant Academy's side was uniformly 3 spirit rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple. There wasn't a single spirit ancestor. On Shrek's side, there were 4 spirit ancestors: Tang San, Dai Mubai, Xiao Wu, and Yu Tianheng, and 3 spirit elders who were originally supporting characters from the Heaven Du Royal Academy Vice team. Such a huge disparity in spirit power directly stunned the Blue Tyrant Academy students, including Tai Long. "Move," Tang San shouted. While the Blue Tyrant Academy members were still in a daze, he had already ordered the Shrek members to act. Dai Mubai took the lead, his first and third spirit rings lighting up, and directly charged towards the Blue Tyrant Academy group. Xiao Wu and Yu Tianheng followed closely behind. The remaining 3 supporting characters also launched their attacks. By this time, the Blue Tyrant members had reacted. They forcefully suppressed the fear in their hearts, released their spirits, and charged forward. However, before he could even get close to the Shrek members, Tang San's 4th spirit ring had already lit up. He summoned 3 blue-silver prisons, trapping 3 Blue Tyrant Academy students, including Tai Long, who were charging at the very front. Then Dai Mubai jumped into the air and directly unleashed his 4th spirit ability, White Tiger Meteor Shower, towards them. This instantly took out their 3 Soul Grandmasters. Chapter 137. Splatoon returns the ones taken away by Dai Mubai's 4th spirit ability, White Tiger Meteor Shower, along with Tai Long, were none other than Huang Yuan, the Lone Wolf Spirit Master, and Jing Ling, the Skeleton Spirit Master, who originally participated in the competition with Shrek. Both of them had reached level 35 in spirit power, one a strong attack type and the other an agile attack type, and their spirits were not bad. But with a difference of 1 spirit ring, they were controlled by Tang San's blue-silver prison, becoming live targets. They were hit head-on by Dai Mubai's area attack, White Tiger Meteor Shower, and quickly fell unconscious. Only Tai Long, a pure strength-type spirit master, barely managed to remain conscious. But at this moment, Xiao Wu, with a teleportation, had already arrived in front of him, and without even using charm, directly kicked him into the air with a flying kick, followed by a full set of violent 8-stage throws, which directly sent the already severely injured Tai Long suspended in the air, only falling down after a quarter of an hour. By this time, the other members of Blue Tyrant Academy had also been beaten beyond recognition. They were dealt with by Tang San, Yu Tianheng, and the 3 former Royal Fight Team sub-team members. First, the support system Spirit Master Jiang Zhu was knocked down by Yu Tianheng's 1st spirit ability, Thunder Dragon Claw, and then the remaining 3 fell into Tang San's spider web restraint. Finally, at Tang San's command, those 3 minor characters directly unleashed their spirit abilities on the 3 people trapped by the spider web restraint, bombarding them wildly. For a time, a large number of screams echoed on the fighting spirit stage, and wails were incessant. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up Comment Speech Balloon, Share Bell Infinite Novel Audio Stop, Don't Hit Them, We Surrender. The Blue Tyrant Academy's leading teacher, seeing that Shrek team still had no intention of stopping, quickly threw out a white towel and ran onto the stage to prevent Tang San and the others from continuing to fight. The referee had also reacted by this time. "All right, stop, Shrek team, you win." Hearing the referee's voice, the Shrek members finally stopped. Their gazes coldly swept across the audience seats. They seemed to be telling the audience with their eyes that they were not maggots from a latrine, not some kind of dung people, but strong individuals. Flender was also dumbfounded by this scene. At this moment, he felt like his head was twice its normal size. If it were any other team, he naturally wouldn't have any psychological burden, but this was the academy opened by his Liu Erlong. Now that they had beaten people like this, how was he going to explain it to Liu Erlong? However, the entire audience was indeed shocked by Shrek Academy. It was just that with Ning Chuan's previous brilliance, the shock they experienced was not as great as in the original work. But undoubtedly, Shrek still ushered in its highlight moment. Unfortunately, people often run into trouble when they are most complacent. Sure enough, while everyone's attention was drawn to the Shrek members on the fighting spirit stage, Ning Chuan took out the laxative he had prepared from his in-arms. Yes, it was even stronger than last time, ensuring that Tang San wouldn't even have time to pull down his pants. He pinched his mouth, feigned contemplation, and swallowed it silently. Then he transferred the side effect to Tang San. "Referee, I want to complain. They are killing people, not competing." The Blue Tyrant Academy teacher on stage, seeing his students beaten so miserably, angrily complained to the referee. Tang San smiled indifferently, looked at the Blue Tyrant Academy teacher, and scoffed. "I only ask you one question, are they dead?" The Blue Tyrant Academy's leading teacher was stunned, not waiting for him to reply. Tang San only felt his stomach churning. Damn it, why now? Tang San knew it was the side effect of his spirit acting up, so he immediately used Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track and sprinted towards the Contestant Academy passage. He firmly believed that with the endurance he had trained for over 2 years, he could hold on until he reached a deserted place and take out his backup toilet to spray freely. But it was clear that he was wrong, and very thoroughly wrong. Before everyone in the audience could react, Tang San had already executed a hawk's flip and swept off the fighting spirit stage. Mid-flight, a shocking and unforgettable scene for everyone occurred. Bang! Only a deafening F-art sound was heard. A large blob of sticky substance filled Tang San's crotch, then seeped through the seams of his underwear into the poop green team uniform pants, finally splattering out from the pant legs. At this moment, everyone saw a discontinuous, varying-sized poop green thread in the sky. Immediately following was an overwhelming stench. Those watching and the participating academies were far enough away, so it was not as bad for them, as they didn't smell it. But it was terrible for the referee, the Blue Tyrant Academy teachers, and the active members of both teams. Especially the Blue Tyrant Academy members who were knocked to the ground, they were directly splashed by the poop green thread. Including the referee, most of the others were also affected. More or less, their bodies were stained with filth. Only Xiao Wu, possessing the teleportation skill, upon realizing something was wrong, immediately teleported away from the area, but the others weren't so lucky. Wow, it stinks, it's so smelly. Everyone on the main fighting spirit stage covered their mouths and noses, dizzy from the stench. The referee himself was hit directly in the face by a large blob and immediately vomited. Silence. The entire venue fell into a deathly silence, as if no one had expected that this Shrek member, who had just defeated Blue Tyrant Academy with such a powerful stance, would actually defecate on the spot, and it splattered so high. Tang San had just landed and hadn't even steadied himself when he realized he had already defecated. He looked incredulously at everything behind him, then he looked around, and his face instantly turned extremely grim. He had actually performed an aerial projectile in the Soul Master competition, in front of all the powerful figures of the Heaven Dew Empire. Tang San knew he was finished. His reputation was completely ruined, and all of this was caused by Yu Xiaogang. He angrily shouted Yu Xiaogang's name. Yu Xiaogang. His teeth were almost ground to dust. Immediately after, before he could react, that strong urge to defecate, like a floodgate opening, attacked again. Tang San no longer cared about being ridiculed, quickly released his blue-silver grass to envelop the area around him, then pulled down his pants, squatted on the ground, and sprayed freely. Listening to the wild bombardment sounds coming from within the blue-silver grass cover, everyone reacted from their brief silence. The entire venue erupted in laughter. Haha, no wonder they dress like they crawled out of a latrine. Turns out they really did crawl out of a latrine. Look, the referee got a big pile of feces splattered on his face by that dung person and has already vomited. And those few Shrek members in Blue Tyrant Academy are the same. I think they shouldn't be called Shrek anymore. They should just be called Shrek. Not only the spectator stands, but also the VIP stands and the resting areas of the various participating academies were filled with laughter. After a brief moment of surprise, Prince Zhu Xing gloated and laughed, saying to Ning Fengjai and Grandmaster Meng Shenji, "Bishop Grandmaster Meng Shenji and Sect Master Ning, is this the Shrek team you think so highly of? The strength they just displayed is indeed good, but the side effect of this spirit is truly strong enough to make someone defecate in public. Fortunately, I didn't let them participate under the name of our Heaven Du Royal Academy's sub-team." Hearing this, Ning Fengjai's face turned ashen, and Grandmaster Meng Shenji bowed his head in shame. Tang San's actions were simply too disgraceful. He not only disgraced himself, he disgraced the Shrek people. He also disgraced them. Chapter 138, The Old Mouse Comes to the Door. In the Heaven Du Empire competition zone, a contestant publicly defecated. It's hard to imagine what a stir this would cause if it got out. At the same time, just as Prince Zhu Xing said, fortunately, Shrek was not allowed to participate under the name of the Heaven Du Royal Academy's sub-team. Otherwise, the Heaven Du Royal Academy would inevitably gain derogatory nicknames like Feces Academy, Poop Academy, or Diarrhea Academy. And it wouldn't just be as simple as Shrek becoming Shrek as it is now. For the Heaven Du Empire, this would absolutely be a national disgrace, something Emperor Zhu you would never want to see. However, thankfully, the situation hasn't reached an irreversible point. Emperor Zhu Yi still needed Ning Fengjai and Grandmaster Meng Shenji, who favored Shrek, to help him fight against Spirit Hall. He couldn't blame them too much. So he changed the subject and asked, "Zhu Xing, what's going on with this spirit side effect?" Zhu Xing respectfully replied, "Imperial brother, I heard this from Ning Chuan, the disciple of Grandmaster Louise, before." At that time, the Education Committee and King were also present. According to Ning Chuan, under the guidance of his teacher, that swindler Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang, Tang San added 3 poison attribute spirit rings, which caused him to be poisoned by his spirit. Although there is no danger to his life, it makes his skin incredibly dark and causes him to have diarrhea from time to time. That's how Tang San's spirit side effect came about. It seems his spirit side effect has not been resolved yet. After speaking, he didn't forget to glance at Grandmaster Meng Shenji and added, "That swindler Grandmaster is reportedly still freeloading at our Heaven Du Royal Academy." Committee member Grandmaster Meng Shenji, is this true? Emperor Zhu Yi looked at Grandmaster Meng Shenji. Grandmaster Meng Shenji replied with a grim expression, "Replying to your majesty, it is indeed true." Emperor Zhu Yi nodded, remained silent for a moment, and then calmly uttered, "From now on, I do not wish to see him at the Heaven Du Royal Academy. This matter is hereby concluded, and no one is to bring it up again." Imperial brother, what about these Shrek? Upon hearing this, Zhu Xing still wanted to expel the Shrek group, but Emperor Zhu Yi merely glared at them and left. Ning Fengjai followed closely behind Emperor Zhu Yi with a grim expression, exiting the VIP seating. Meanwhile, Platinum Bishop Saras remained seated, deep in thought, his eyes filled with disappointment as he looked at Shrek and the others. Is this Tang Hao's son? After all that, he turns out to be a feces person, completely shaming the Clear Sky sect and his father. In the resting area specifically provided for the new royal fight team, Huang Jia, a former member of the Heaven Du Royal Academy's sub-team, once again uttered a remark filled with relief. "Fortunately, I didn't join the Shrek team. Of course not, otherwise you might be covered in feces right now. But this Tang San is truly hilarious. I thought his side effect was gone, but it turns out it's still there." It was Ning Rongrong who spoke. When she saw Tang San publicly defecate, she laughed so hard her chest hurt. After all, disgusting as it was, seeing someone unrelated to her embarrass themselves in public made her quite happy. In contrast, the 4 girls, Louise, Yilingaling, Zhu Zhuqing, and Mona, felt a wave of nausea. If they weren't far enough away that the stench hadn't reached them, they probably would have vomited on the spot. All right, let's go. We'll talk more once we're back at our lodging. Let's not stay here any longer. Ning Chuan called out to everyone, then led the new royal fight team quickly out of the resting area and quietly left the Great Spirit Arena. Rongrong. As the group had just walked out of the Great Spirit Arena, preparing to return to their lodging, a familiar voice made them stop. It was Ning Fengzhai. Father, Ning Rongrong excitedly ran over, and then Ning Fengzhai, holding her hand, walked over. Hello, little friends of the new royal fight team. Just like in the original work, Ning Fengzhai greeted everyone in an approachable manner, except this time, the recipients of his greeting were the new royal fight team instead of Shrek. After some polite exchanges and feigned pleasantries, Ning Chuan directly asked, Uncle Ning, may I ask if you are looking for me for something? Yes, I am indeed looking for you for something. Is it convenient to speak alone for a few moments? Ning Fengzhai asked. Ning Chuan thought Qian Rengsu was looking for him, so he nodded and agreed. After the members of the new royal fight team left, only Ning Chuan remained. Ning Fengzhai led him towards a nearby tea house. Ning Chuan sensed something was amiss. As they walked, he asked, Uncle Ning, can you tell me now what you're looking for me about? Ning Fengzhai smiled slightly and said, Actually, it's nothing much. It's just that an old friend of mine wants to see you. I'm just here to act as an intermediary. Old friend, Ning Chuan frowned slightly, already beginning to guess, but he still probed, could it be Snow Brother? No, it's Little Sand's father. I presume you all saw what happened with Shrek just now. Little Sand's father came to me because of it, hoping I could be an intermediary and discuss with you how to resolve Little Sand's problem. Ning Fengzhai didn't hide anything. To be honest, when Tang Rishan sent him a message, he was also a bit surprised. However, thinking that the other party said this matter would be a favor owed to his 7-treasure glazed tile school, he agreed. Originally, Tang Rishan wanted to find Louise, but Ning Fengzhai suggested finding Ning Chuan instead. He had discovered that Louise almost always deferred to Ning Chuan in everything, and Ning Chuan himself had long since surpassed her. If he were to find Louise, even if she knew how to solve Tang San's problem, she would still discuss it with Ning Chuan. Rather than that, it would be better to just go directly to Ning Chuan. It seems Old Mouse is truly desperate. Ning Chuan chuckled inwardly, but on the surface, he showed a troubled expression. Uncle Ning, it's not that I want to defy you, but I once had a conflict with Tang San. You know, even that poison Douluo was killed for troubling Tang San. If I were to go again, Ning Fengzhai assured him. You can rest assured about this matter. Clear Sky Douluo is a person who distinguishes right from wrong. Your previous conflict was entirely due to Yu Xiaogang, and the facts have proven that Yu Xiaogang was indeed in the wrong. You were merely acting out of good intentions. He will not hold it against you. Moreover, Sword Douluo is also here. If anything truly happens, my 7-treasure glazed tile school will absolutely not stand by and do nothing. Then I will rely entirely on Uncle Ning. Ning Chuan deliberately showed an expression of humble gratitude. A moment later, Ning Fengzhai led Ning Chuan to a tea house near the Great Spirit Arena. The tea house looked very simple, with few people, exuding an ancient and tranquil atmosphere. The two arrived at the innermost private room on the 2nd floor. There were only 2 people in the private room. One Ning Chuan recognized as Sword Douluo. The other was a stooped old man with skin like withered tree bark, wearing a tattered, patched, and dirty robe. However, his eyes were exceptionally bright. Seeing this person, Ning Chuan almost snorted with laughter. Although he had been using Tang Rishan as a charging treasure all these years, transferring most of the side effects to him subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up Comment Speech Balloon, Share Bell Infinite Novel Audio. However, seeing Tang Rishan in this state still made one unable to help but laugh. It seems Old Mouse has indeed been miserable because of him all these years. Chapter 139 Ning Chuan. Add a power spirit ring to the blue silver grass. Chapter 139 Ning Chuan. Attach a power spirit ring to the blue silver grass. Seeing the two arrive, Sword Douluo stood up, Sect Master. Tang Rishan, however, had no intention of getting up. He merely nodded to Ning Fengzhai, then said to Ning Chuan, "You're here, sit down." The two took their seats. Ning Fengzhai sat next to Sword Douluo, and Ning Chuan sat opposite Sword Douluo, adjacent to Tang Rishan. "You seem to know me." Tang Rishan looked at Ning Chuan. "It's not really knowing, but when I went to Saint Spirit Village with Grandpa Tom previously, I did some blacksmithing at your place." Ning Chuan spoke nonsense with a straight face. Many people had gone to Tang Rishan for blacksmithing, including those from Emperor Soul Village. Tang Rishan didn't dwell on it much and went straight to the point. "Schoolmaster Ning must have already told you about my purpose for coming. I want to ask for your opinion. Before I answer that question, I'd like to know how you alleviated Tang San's side effects. I can see that his side effects have been greatly reduced compared to before, at least they aren't as frequent." Ning Chuan said neither humbly nor arrogantly. Tang Rishan was silent for a moment, then replied, "Little San has twin spirits." As soon as these words were spoken, Ning Fengzhai and Sword Douluo exchanged glances. Both saw shock in each other's eyes. Ning Fengzhai thought to himself. He had originally thought Tang San was destined to be suppressed by Ning Chuan in the future, perhaps even inferior to that girl named Zhuking. Now it seemed, who would be superior or inferior between the two in the future was still unknown. Ning Chuan, however, showed a just as expected expression. He feigned sudden realization and sighed. "So that's how it is. It seems you knew all along." A glint flashed in Tang Rishan's eyes. From the time Ning Chuan enrolled in Noding Academy, Tang Rishan had noticed him. However, at that time, he didn't think highly of him, so he didn't pay much attention. It wasn't until Ning Chuan displayed his 1,000-year second ring and spirit elder cultivation upon entering Shrek that he truly caught Tang Rishan's eye. From a mere half-level of innate spirit power and a useless spirit, bamboo sword, he had grown step by step into the highly anticipated genius he was today. To be honest, even he found it hard not to feel admiration for this young man. Compared to him, that good-for-nothing Yu Xiaogang was truly, utterly useless. It was bad enough that he was useless himself, but he also ruined his son's cultivation. If he didn't still have some use, he would have killed that fellow long ago. Sometimes, Tang Rishan even thought how great it would be if Ning Chuan were his son. If Ning Chuan were his son, he would certainly not cultivate according to the cultivation path set by Yu Xiaogang. Instead, he would apply his own ideas and theories to cultivate the blue-silver grass. That way, perhaps his cultivation progress would have long exceeded his expectations, and he wouldn't have been ruined into this ghastly state by that good-for-nothing Yu Xiaogang. He was ugly and looked like a black bear, and he had diarrhea, even though Yin was so beautiful. If he hadn't awakened the blue-silver grass and clear sky hammer, Tang Rishan would have doubted if he was his and Yin's child. At the same time, Ning Chuan should also be glad that he was close to the 7-treasure glazed tile school and the Heaven Dew Empire crown prince. Perhaps in the future he could become a cornerstone of the force against Spirit Hall. Otherwise, if the other party was strong enough to threaten his son in the future, he would have dealt with this boy long ago. Ning Chuan nodded. "I only had some speculation but couldn't confirm it." However, to suppress the poison attribute and alleviate side effects, in my understanding, the only way is to attach a new attribute spirit ring, and only a second spirit can attach a spirit ring. Little San's second spirit is the same clear sky hammer as mine. As he spoke, Tang Hao slowly raised his right hand, summoning a small crimson hammer emitting a scarlet glow with a bat pattern on its hammerhead. He looked at Ning Chuan and said, "Little San's first spirit ring is from a 2,000-year-old Vajra tiger, and his second spirit ring is from a great strength demon bear that's nearly 4,000 years old. Both are pure power-type spirit rings. By relying on these two pure power-type spirit rings to suppress the poison attribute spirit rings within him, Little San's blue-silver grass spirit side effects have been somewhat alleviated, basically only flaring up once every 2 or 3 days. But each time it lasts for several hours, or even most of the day, which severely impacts his cultivation time. Do you have any method that can completely eradicate this problem?" After saying this, he added, Currently, with Little San's physique, he temporarily cannot attach any more spirit rings to the clear sky hammer. If you can solve Little San's problem, consider it Tang Hao owing you a favor. Hef, who cares about your favor? Ning Chuan sneered inwardly, but on the surface, he put on an excited and fervent expression. How can clear sky Douluo say such things? Although Tang San and I had some unpleasantness in the past, those were all differences in ideology. He believed Yu Xiaogang's theory was correct, and I believed it was wrong. We almost came to blows over it. Clear sky Douluo not holding Ning Chuan's past offense against him is already something Ning Chuan is infinitely grateful for. What's all this talk about favors? Tang Hao nodded, acknowledging Ning Chuan's statement. Ning Chuan bluffed. Tang San's current situation is due to attaching 3 poison attribute spirit rings, causing him to be poisoned, just like Poison Douluo's granddaughter. To solve this problem without continuing to attach spirit rings to the second spirit is almost impossible, but we can try another method. What method? Tang Hao's eyes lit up. Attach a power attribute spirit ring to the first spirit, blue-silver grass. The greatest bane of devouring gold bugs is jade and wood. These two can trap devouring gold bugs. Most jade-type spirits are support system spirits, so there's generally no need to worry. However, there are quite a few wood attribute spirits. Especially Tang San's blue-silver grass. If it were to attach only wood attribute spirit rings in the future, it might truly be able to restrain his devouring gold bugs. Therefore, Ning Chuan felt it was quite necessary for Tang San's blue-silver grass to attach a power attribute spirit ring. Ning Fengzhai, who was beside him, heard this and his eyes instantly lit up. Do you mean that by attaching a power attribute spirit ring to the blue-silver grass spirit, coupled with the 2 original power attribute spirit rings of Little San's clear sky hammer spirit, he can suppress the poison attribute within him? Ning Chuan nodded and said, that is indeed the case. However, this would make Tang San's blue-silver grass spirit neither fish nor fowl, becoming a strong attack that isn't a strong attack, and a control that isn't a control. Sword Douluo echoed. If the power attribute can truly suppress the poison attribute and alleviate the side effects, then it truly is a good method. As for sacrificing the blue-silver grass, if it can achieve the clear sky hammer, the #1 tool spirit in the world, then sacrificing the blue-silver grass's control ability is not something difficult to accept. Upon hearing this, Tang Hao began to ponder the feasibility of this method. Seeing that Tang Hao was already moved, Ning Chuan secretly smiled and continued to bluff. Actually, it's not really a sacrifice, there are also benefits. That is, it can greatly increase Tang San's own strength. This is undoubtedly a huge advantage for wielding a heavy-type spirit like the clear sky hammer. Hearing this, Tang Hao no longer had any reservations. He stood up and said, Schoolmaster Ning, Tang Hao will remember today's matter. And Ning Chuan, the past grievances between you and Little San are now completely cleared. With that, he disappeared from the tea house. Chapter 135. The Rat Comes Knocking approved. Chapter 140 winning, updated in advance due to something. Many thanks to Uncle Ning and Senior Sword Douluo for helping me resolve the grudge with Tang San. Otherwise, being targeted by a powerful titled Douluo, I might not have been able to sleep soundly for the rest of my life. After Tang Rishan left, Ning Chuan expressed his gratitude to the two. No matter what Ning Fengzhai was planning, as long as he felt like he had one big, that was enough. After all, words of thanks cost nothing. Ning Fengzhai smiled slightly and said, Xiao Chuan, you're too kind. It was just a small favor. This time, he had truly profited. Not only did he gain clear sky Douluo's favor, but he also resolved the conflict between the two parties and gained Ning Chuan's. Indeed, Ning Fengzhai felt exactly as Ning Chuan had thought, that he had one big. Ning Chuan hesitated for a moment, then said, Uncle Ning, if you don't mind, you can call me Little Six from now on. My elders at home all call me that. He couldn't help it. Xiao Chuan was simply too unpleasant to hear. It was fine when Louise called him that, but when others did, it made him feel very uncomfortable. Ning Fengzhai thought this was Ning Chuan actively trying to get closer to him, and he was overjoyed. He called him Little Six repeatedly, sounding incredibly affectionate. After tea, Ning Fengjai and Sword Douluo personally escorted Ning Chuan to the entrance of the tea house, where Ning Chuan bid them farewell. Watching Ning Chuan's receding figure, Sword Douluo praised, "From him, I seem to see the shadow of Tang Chen." It's truly hard to imagine that this child is only 14 years old, growing step by step from innate spirit power half-level to where he is today. I'm truly looking forward to his future more and more. Tang Chen. Ning Fengjai looked at Sword Douluo with some surprise. He knew well that his Uncle Sword was an arrogant person by nature, for him to give such a high evaluation. It seemed Ning Chuan had greatly impacted Uncle Sword. Walking back to his residence, Ning Chuan began to imagine what Tang San would be like after acquiring a power spirit ring for his blue-silver grass. By then, the blue-silver grass would become clumsy and heavy, which would surely be very interesting. Just then, a figure in front blocked Ning Chuan's path. It was Lu Jiansheng. "Senior Lu, why are you here?" Ning Chuan walked over. "What else? Of course, my precious daughter was worried you'd encounter danger and told me to come check on you. How was it? Did those guys from the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School make things difficult for you?" The two walked side by side. Lu Jiansheng asked. "It wasn't really difficult. They just took me to see Tang Hao." As he spoke, Ning Chuan didn't hide anything, directly recounting what had happened earlier. Upon learning that Tang Hao had come to Ning Chuan to solve his son's diarrhea problem, Lu Jiansheng asked, laughing and crying, "You really told him the solution?" "Why not?" Ning Chuan countered. "Don't you know that Kid has twin spirits and will become your competitor in the future? And you two don't get along very well. I see that Kid is the type to hold a grudge." At this point, Lu Jiansheng seemed to think of something else and burst out laughing. "Is there something funny?" Ning Chuan asked. "That Kid is indeed no good, but you, Kid, are even worse. There must be a conspiracy in this. Confess honestly, did you dig another pit for the Tang clan father and son?" Lu Jiansheng's face showed an uncharitable smile. "Senior Lu, don't slander a good person," Ning Chuan said earnestly. Lu Jiansheng pouted, "Bah, you, Kid, a good person. If you were really a good person, my daughter and those 3 little girls wouldn't be fooled by you. But none of that is my business. As long as you treat my daughter well, that's all that matters. If you ever dare to do anything to displease her, I will never forgive you. You can rest assured about that. I will treat my teacher well." Ning Chuan smiled. Since she treated him with sincerity, he naturally wouldn't let her down. The tea house was not too far from their residence, and soon the two returned to their lodging. At this moment, everyone was cultivating in the large courtyard. Ning Chuan didn't disturb them either and returned to his room to cultivate. His mysterious heaven skill had already reached the 5th layer, and it was not far from the 6th. 6 of the 8 extraordinary meridians in his body, excluding the Ren and Du meridians, had also been opened. Logically, he would need to wait until he acquired his 5th spirit ring before he could continue cultivating and advance to the 6th layer. But with the God-level side effect system, when he got stuck at the peak bottleneck of the 5th layer and couldn't break through, he could directly transfer the side effect to Tang San. This way, his cultivation of mysterious heaven skill would no longer be limited by spirit rings. At the same time, he could also begin to open the final Ren and Du meridians. By then, not only would his cultivation speed and cultivation limit be greatly improved, but he would also be able to release protective astral energy through his extraordinary meridians. This would achieve the effect of amplifying his own attack and defense. This was an undeniable improvement. On another note, while Ning Chuan was cultivating mysterious heaven skill, Tang San was having a terrible time. He was still having diarrhea. At this moment, the Great Spirit Arena was already deserted due to the conclusion of the Soul Master Competition opening ceremony. Only the Shrek group remained, and a few Great Spirit Arena staff members responsible for cleaning the venue. Sigh, what kind of karma is this? Looking at Tang San, who was still continuously spraying within his blue-silver grass cover and wouldn't be able to stop anytime soon, Flender was both embarrassed and helpless. He turned his gaze to the Shrek members who had already used the Great Spirit Arena's bathroom, showered, and changed out of their shit-green clothes, and said, "All right, you all go back to the hotel first. I'll watch over things here." The Shrek members nodded. They had long wanted to leave. Especially the 6 who had competed alongside Tang San. Aside from Xiao Wu, the others not only had feces all over them, but also earned the title of shit team members. They were simply as depressed as could be. Who hit my students? Just as the Shrek members were about to leave, a violent shout rang out, and the Great Spirit Arena Spirit Master aisle door was kicked open. The Blue Tyrant Academy's lead teacher, who had left earlier, returned, leading a mature beauty in black leather, with long black hair, exquisite features, and a fiery figure, who strode over aggressively. All the Shrek members were startled, thinking to themselves, what a surging aura. Dean, it's them. They weren't even fighting, they were killing. They were the ones who severely injured all 7 members of our Blue Tyrant Academy team. The Blue Tyrant Academy pointed them out, but the beautiful woman ignored him and met Flender's gaze. Flander, Liu Erlong. Both exclaimed at the same time. Dean, you know him, Dai Mubai asked in surprise. Flender nodded. She is the one I told you about, my friend and Grandmaster's friend, and also one of the former Golden Triangle, the corner of Slaughter Liu Erlong. Now she is the Dean of Blue Tyrant Academy. Is she my grandaunt? Yu Tianheng looked at Liu Erlong with a slightly surprised expression. He had heard about this illegitimate daughter of his second grandfather, Yu Luomian. Chapter 141, Angry Female Tyrannosaurus. It was their first time meeting, after all. His second uncle had never brought her back to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan before. Flender quickly went to greet her, his eyes filled with a mix of warmth and excitement as he said, "Erlong, why are you here?" Liu Erlong glared at Flender and said, "Why do you think I'm here? Your students beat my Blue Tyrant Academy students like this. Do you think I, as the dean, wouldn't come? I just didn't expect this Shrek team wasn't just a namesake, but actually your Shrek Academy, Flander." Flender awkwardly scratched the back of his head. "This is all my fault. I didn't instruct them properly. You few, hurry up and come over to apologize to Dean Liu Erlong." "Look at you all, what have you done to them?" "We're sorry, Dean Liu Erlong." Seeing Liu Erlong's aggressive demeanor, the Shrek team knew she was not to be trifled with, so they all conceded. "Sorry, Aunt." The last sentence was spoken by Yu Tianheng. "Aunt, you are." Liu Erlong looked at Yu Tianheng with confusion. "I am my second uncle's grandnephew. My father is Yu Xiaojiang," Yu Tianheng replied. Upon hearing this, everyone realized that Dean Liu Erlong also originated from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Liu Erlong was clearly still bothered by the past incident. She merely let out an "oh" and then ignored Yu Tianheng, turning her gaze to Flender and saying, "Speaking of which, weren't you in Soto City in Balak Kingdom? Why are you in Heaven Dew City now, and what's going on here?" "It smells terrible, absolutely awful." As she spoke, Liu Erlong pinched her nose and pointed at the blue-silver grass cover. "It's a long story." Flender awkwardly scratched the back of his head again. The Blue Tyrant Academy's leading teacher replied, "Dean, the person inside is Tang San. He's the one I told you about before, who publicly sprayed feces." Hearing the words "sprayed feces," Liu Erlong couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Flander, I didn't realize your Shrek Academy takes in all sorts of monsters. A few years ago, you wrote to me saying you took in a wicked fire chicken as a disciple, and now you even have a feces person." As she spoke, there was another farty sound from inside the blue-silver grass, followed by the sound of diarrhea. Flender's old face first flushed red, then he sighed. "Erlong, actually Tang San isn't my disciple. Xiao Gang is his teacher." Xiao Gang. Upon hearing this, Liu Erlong, who had been laughing so merrily, suddenly stiffened and fell into a daze. Then she suddenly turned her head and began to look around. "Where is Xiao Gang? Is he still unwilling to see me? How long is he going to hide from me?" As she spoke, Liu Erlong's tears could no longer be held back and overflowed from her eyes. The Shrek team members exchanged glances, realizing that this Dean Liu Erlong seemed to have a story, and it seemed she had some unclear entanglement with that useless Grandmaster and Dean Flender. Flender held Liu Erlong's shoulders and said seriously, "Erlong, calm down. He's not hiding from you. He just went out of Heaven Dew City on business and will be back after a while." Then tell me, where did he go? Liu Erlong asked anxiously upon hearing this. Flender knew that if he didn't tell her today, she would definitely not give up, so he could only faintly utter 3 words, Spirit City. Damn it! As expected, Liu Erlong immediately quieted down after hearing this. She wiped her tears and looked at Flender. Flander, I want you to tell me everything that has happened to Xiao Gang over the years. Flender nodded, then turned and said, Mubai Littleao Hongjun, Dean Liu Erlong and I have important matters to discuss. You 3 stay here and watch Tang-san. The others can go back first. A moment later, Flender led Liu Erlong to the tea house Ning Chuan had visited before. Erlong, Xiao Gang has had a hard time lately. This was the first thing Flender said to Liu Erlong after they entered. What exactly happened? Hurry up and tell me, you're killing me with suspense. Liu Erlong was very agitated. Upon hearing this, Flender no longer kept them in suspense and immediately recounted everything that had happened recently. From taking Tang-san, a twin spirit's disciple, to Tang-san being discovered to have diarrhea as a side effect of his spirit, and being identified as such because Yu Xiaogang made him absorb 3 poison attribute spirit rings. Now, having just experienced the diarrhea incident at the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament opening ceremony, Yu Xiaogang's reputation was completely ruined. Everyone believed Yu Xiaogang was a swindler. Even Emperor Zhu, he personally ordered Yu Xiaogang to be expelled from Heaven Du Royal Academy and banned him from leading teams in the Soul Master competition for life. Damn it, how can they slander Xiaogang like that? Liu Erlong didn't care whether Yu Xiaogang was responsible for Tang-san's diarrhea or not. Regardless of the facts, with her love-struck mind, she insisted that Yu Xiaogang was being slandered by others. Although I don't believe it either, the facts are right in front of us. Xiaogang is now unable to defend himself, and even his disciple, Tang-san, no longer believes him. Flender sighed. That ungrateful, treacherous bastard, I'm going to settle scores with him, Liu Erlong said, moving to teach Tang-san a lesson, but Flender stopped her. Liu Erlong, don't go. Tang-san's father is Clear Sky Douluo. If you harm him, not only will your life be in danger, but Xiao Gang will also be implicated. Poison Douluo and his granddaughter Dugu Yan are a lesson from the past. Although Tang Hao had already come forward to clarify that he didn't kill Dugu Bo, Flender still believed it was him deep down, because in the current continent, only Tang Hao had a record of killing a titled Douluo. He was also the one with the most murderous intent. Upon hearing that Yu Xiaogang would be implicated, Liu Erlong immediately deflated. Then who was it that said Xiao Gang caused Tang-san's spirit to have side effects? Flender was silent for a moment, then replied, Ning Chuan. Upon hearing this, Liu Erlong immediately directed her anger towards Ning Chuan, enraged, that bastard. How dare he slander Xiao Gang like that? I'll skin him alive. Flender was a bit helpless seeing Liu Erlong wanting to cause trouble for Ning Chuan, but he didn't say anything more. After all, Ning Chuan didn't have a titled Douluo backing him. Once Liu Erlong beat the other party up, her anger would subside. Before that, he could only let Ning Chuan suffer a little. Due to the new Royal Fight team having already completed their preliminary match the day before, Ning Chuan did not go to the Great Spirit Arena on the second day, but instead stayed at his residence to cultivate. Early in the morning, Ning Chuan habitually began cultivating his purple demon eye. Since the side effect of needing morning purple kai to cultivate purple demon eye had been transferred, Ning Chuan no longer needed purple kai to cultivate. However, to avoid appearing too special, Ning Chuan would still cultivate daily with Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zhuking, Yilingaling, and Louise. After finishing his purple demon eye cultivation, Ning Chuan practiced swordplay for half an hour. Only then did he return to his room to continue cultivating mysterious heaven skill. Chapter 142. Tang-san wants to kill Yu Xiaogang at this moment. Tang-san finally finished his more than 10 hours of diarrhea. After taking 2 sausages from Oscar, he changed into clean clothes and returned to the hotel with the support of Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun. After a period of recovery, Tang-san's body finally recovered. However, his heart was in agony. It was hard to imagine that he had actually defecated, and it was during the opening ceremony of the Soul Master competition preliminaries, in front of almost all the Heaven Dew Empire's nobles, performing a mid-air projectile. Even now, the endless taunts and jeers still echoed in his mind. Nicknames like Feece's Man, Poop King, Feece's Machine, and Feece's Spirit Master were given to him countless times. Most importantly, he had done it in front of Xiao Wu. This directly destroyed the glorious image he had painstakingly built in Xiao Wu's heart. It was all Yu Xiaogang's fault. Yu Xiaogang ruined him. Now, he didn't dare to face Xiao Wu and didn't know how to face her. He only wanted to close his door tightly, lock himself in the closet, and then wait for Yu Xiaogang to return, kill him, and finally sink into eternal oblivion. Until the world perishes. Are you giving up so easily? Just as Tang San was secretly wiping away tears in the closet, Tang Hao's old and stern voice suddenly rang out. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks, books like Thumbs Up, Comment, Speech Balloon, Share, Bell, Infinite Novel Audio Father. Tang San pushed open the closet door and looked out. What greeted his eyes was Tang Hao and his old, hunched figure. Come out. Tang Hao's tone carried an unquestionable authority. Father, Tang San had never seen such a strict father before. He stood up and walked out of the closet as told, but Tang Rishan slapped him back with a big slap. Tang Hao said with disappointment, "Don't call me father. I don't have a useless son like you. You are so young, yet you become lax and negligent at the first sign of setback. How will you achieve greatness in the future?" Tang San covered his instantly swollen cheek, feeling a belly full of grievances. "But father, today Tang Hao interrupted him. "I know. I came precisely for this matter today." Tang San's eyes lit up. "Father, so you found a solution?" Tang Rishan nodded. "Yes, I have now found a way to completely rid you of the side effects and to a greater extent unleash the power of the clear sky hammer. However, this will sacrifice your blue-silver grass spirit." "It doesn't matter. As long as I can get rid of this damned spirit side effect, I'm willing to do anything." "Father, tell me, what should I do?" Tang San asked excitedly. "Add power-type spirit rings to the blue-silver grass spirit," Tang Hao said. "We've already proven that adding power-type spirit rings to the clear sky hammer can suppress the side effects brought by those 3 poison attribute spirit rings. If we also add power-type spirit rings to the blue-silver grass spirit, then your blue-silver grass will inevitably become neither one thing nor another. But similarly, your side effects will be relieved to a greater extent. Also, your own strength will greatly increase, and by then you'll be able to unleash even greater power from the clear sky hammer." After listening to Tang Hao, Tang San was silent for a while, feeling that this method was currently the best choice, so he asked, "Father, who told you about this method?" "Ning Chuan." Tang Hao did not hide it and explained how he had found Ning Chuan through Ning Fengzhai. He believed he was very sincere. Ning Chuan had no reason to deceive him, couldn't deceive him, and dared not deceive him. Otherwise, what awaited the other party would be his merciless retaliation. Tang San gritted his teeth and said, "Damn it, it really was him. This must be intentional." He knew early on that my blue-silver grass spirit absorbing power spirit rings could alleviate the side effects. But when I asked Grandmaster Louise, he didn't say anything, causing me to absorb the underground devil spider as my 4th spirit ring for the blue-silver grass. If my 4th spirit ring had been a power-type spirit ring, then none of yesterday's events would have happened. Ning Chuan did this on purpose. He just wanted to see me make a fool of myself. He has already chosen death. Tang Hao didn't expect Tang San to have such a thought process. For a moment, he was confused by the other party. But then again, upon careful thought, there was indeed some truth to it. However, given his son's current situation, he alone still couldn't contend with the Spirit Hall. He had to unite all forces against the Spirit Hall as much as possible. Among them, the 7 treasure glazed tile school and the Heaven Dew Empire were 2 indispensable forces. He had already borne the infamy of killing Old Poison. Even if he came forward to clarify, probably not many people would believe him. If he were to kill Ning Chuan, who had close ties to the 7 treasure glazed tile school and the Heaven Dew royal family, it would likely lead to a complete breakdown of relations. So he made a decision he would regret for the rest of his life. We can't touch him yet. Why not, father? Tang-san asked, puzzled. He's already harmed me like this. Shouldn't he be killed? Your future enemies are very powerful. To contend with them and avenge your mother in the future, you will need to unite the 7 treasure glazed tile school, the Heaven Dew Empire, and even Ning Chuan's own strength. Therefore, Ning Chuan cannot die yet. Tang Hao shook his head and said. Upon hearing this, Tang-san's body trembled instantly. Avenge mother. Could it be that mother has already? Enough, this is not something you should know now. The most important thing for you right now is to quickly increase your strength and cultivate to level 50 as soon as possible. Only then will you be able to resolve the spirit side effects. Tang Rishan raised his hand to interrupt Tang-san, while secretly thinking, it seems that the spirit bone Yin left behind can only be given to little San early. Hearing this, Tang-san knew that no matter how much he asked today, father would not tell him. However, compared to Ning Chuan, Yu Xiaogang deserved to die even more. Then killing Yu Xiaogang is fine, right? He harmed me so badly, he has already chosen death. At this moment, Tang-san no longer cared about any master-disciple relationship. In short, Yu Xiaogang must die. Even if the Pope of Spirit Hall came, he couldn't stop it. Tang-san said so. Still no. Tang Hao shook his head. Father, what is this again? Tang-san was a bit confused. Ning Chuan couldn't die because he was needed to unite the Heaven Dew Empire and the 7 treasure glazed tile school against the enemy who killed his mother. But what use was Yu Xiaogang? Unite the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. With that useless outcast, was he worthy? Tang Rishan patiently explained, cultivating twin spirits isn't just about adding spirit rings. It also requires considering the impact of multiple attribute spirit rings on oneself. Otherwise, it's easy for an explosion to occur. This is also why I stopped you from adding more spirit rings after adding 2 to your clear sky hammer, because your body simply couldn't bear it. Can that useless Yu Xiaogang solve this problem for me? Tang-san asked with disdain. He can't, but someone can, and that person has already succeeded. Yu Xiaogang is currently going to find that person. Once he obtains the method to resolve the twin spirits' backlash, I will make him pay the price for what he did to you in the past. After Tang Hao finished speaking, a hint of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. #146 Moving Today. Moving house today, will update later. Chapter 143 Bibai Dong's killing intention. Tang-san was greatly surprised. Could it be that besides me, someone else possesses twin spirits? Yes. Tang Hao's expression froze. Who? Tang-san asked. Spirit Hall, Your Majesty, the Pope Bibai Dong. Tang Rishan replied. Hearing this, Tang-san fell silent, and Tang Rishan also said nothing more. However, Tang-san finally understood why his father said he couldn't avenge his mother alone. The enemy was very likely Spirit Hall. Possessing a twin spirits and cultivating to the titled Douluo realm was enough to make people hesitate, not to mention the elders of Spirit Hall who had also reached the titled Douluo realm, and the massive Soul Master Legion that made both empires extremely wary. Thinking of this, Tang-san grew even more resentful of Yu Xiaogang. It was all him. If it weren't for him using him as a guinea pig, experimenting with his so-called nonsensical theories, he wouldn't have absorbed 3 poison attribute spirit rings, thus degenerating into his current ghostly appearance. To the point where he needed to unite with Ning Chuan, that scoundrel who had harmed Xiao Wu and deserved to die, to help him fight against Spirit Hall. Therefore, without a doubt, Yu Xiaogang was the one who most deserved to die. Pope Mountain was a majestic peak, like a giant sword forged by heaven and earth, steep and magnificent, soaring straight into the clouds. The Supreme Pontiff Palace stood upon it. Inside the Supreme Pontiff Palace's assembly hall, a beautiful woman leaned back on a luxurious throne cast in gilded gold at the very top. Her legs were crossed, her left leg resting on her right hand propping up her fragrant cheek, leaning on the armrest of the throne, while her other hand held the angel scepter, her eyes slightly closed, her face almost perfect. Below the beautiful woman was a cardinal. At this moment, the cardinal was reporting to her. Your Majesty the Pope, Bishop Salas of the Heaven Dew City Spirit Hall just sent two important messages. Raid them, Bibai Dong uttered faintly. The cardinal bowed his head respectfully and said, "In this all-continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament in the Heaven Dew City Division, a genius spirit master has emerged. Information as follows. Name, Ning Chuan, Spirit, Azure Bamboo Bee Cloud Sword, age 14, Spirit Power 48th rank. Spirit Ring configuration, yellow, purple, purple, black. Possesses a groundbreaking 1,000-year second ring and a 10,000-year fourth ring. The 10,000-year spirit ability from his fourth spirit ring possesses extremely strong offensive power. At yesterday's All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament, Heaven Dew Empire Division opening ceremony, he defeated 3 spirit ancestors and 4 spirit elders with spirit power close to rank 40 from Elephant Armored Academy in one encounter. After listening to the cardinal's words, Bibai Dong finally opened her eyes, revealing a pair of dark red, autumn water-like pupils. 14 years old, 48th rank, and possessing a groundbreaking 1,000-year second ring and a 10,000-year fourth ring, his talent is indeed very strong. Does Spirit Hall have his information recorded? And who is his teacher? After saying this, Bibai Dong stood up and looked out the window, the image of young Yu Xiaogang involuntarily appearing in her mind. She thought to herself, could he be your disciple, Xiaogang? His teacher is Grandmaster Louise, who has recently become famous in Heaven Dew City. The young master also values Grandmaster Louise highly, and has already recommended her to Emperor Zhu Yi to be appointed as the chief instructor of the Heaven Dew Empire Soul Master Legion. Taking this opportunity, the young master has also obtained command of the Heaven Dew Empire Soul Master Legion. However, when the cardinal mentioned the words young master, Bibai Dong's originally unruffled eyes suddenly trembled, and then she heard that Ning Chuan was not Yu Xiaogang's teacher, and she felt a trace of disappointment inside. She turned her back to the cardinal and said, "However, what?" The cardinal hesitated for a moment, then said, "The branch deacon who was responsible for awakening Ning Chuan's spirit originally registered his information as half-rank innate spirit power. And his spirit was only a bamboo sword. Bishop Salas received news from the young master that Ning Chuan grew so rapidly precisely because of Grandmaster Louise's theories, and Grandmaster Louise has thus been highly regarded by various forces in the Heaven Dew Empire. Half-rank innate spirit power. Hearing this, Bibai Dong thought of Yu Xiaogang again. Both had half-rank innate spirit power, both had waste spirits, but Ning Chuan, under the guidance of Grandmaster Louise, had grown to a level that even she had to marvel at only 14 years old. It seemed that Grandmaster Louise truly had real ability. If Xiaogang could obtain Grandmaster Louise's theories, perhaps he could also break through his bottleneck. Thinking of this, Bibai Dong tried her best to calm the excitement and impatience in her heart, pondering. Have her try her best to win over Grandmaster Louise. This person's theories are very useful to my Spirit Hall. Even if we cannot win Louise over to Spirit Hall, we must obtain Louise's Spirit Master theories. Yes, the cardinal respectfully nodded and continued reporting. Ning Chuan's 10,000-year spirit ability is an extremely powerful lightning attribute offensive spirit ability. Considering the attribute counter in the battle against Elephant Armor Academy, his strength is roughly judged to be a high-tier spirit king. However, if he is allowed to continue participating in the tournament, he might threaten Spirit Hall Academy. But Bishop Salas sent a message saying that the young master and Ning Chuan have a close relationship, and the young master has already begun to recruit Ning Chuan for her own use. The young master's suggestion is to not touch him for now. Without a doubt, the word suggestion was a euphemism. Cayenne Renksu's original words were likely a warning, and Bibai Dong could roughly guess Cayenne Renksu's attitude. After a moment of silence, she said, "Since she has her own ideas, do as she wishes. Continue your report. The other matter is the discovery of Tang Hao's son, Tang San, in Heaven Dew City. He seems to have inherited the spirit of that transformed spirit beast from back then, and he has also apprenticed himself to that Grandmaster. As he spoke, the cardinal couldn't help but curl his lips into a gloating smile. But Bibai Dong, who had her back to him, suddenly became agitated, murmuring in a voice only she could hear. "Xiao Gang," the cardinal continued. "This Tang San, under the guidance of that grandmaster, seems to have absorbed poison attribute spirit rings for his first 3 spirit rings, causing his skin to become incredibly dark. Most crucially, he developed a spirit side effect, constantly suffering from diarrhea. At the opening ceremony of this all-continent Advanced Soul Master Academy elite tournament, he even performed an aerial projectile in front of the Heaven Dew Empire's dignitaries. Now, almost everyone in Heaven Dew City calls him Filth Man and refers to his Shrek team as Shrek and his companions as Filth teammates. Crack. The floor beneath Bibai Dong's feet cracked, splintered by the angel scepter. She gritted her teeth and asked, "Then what about that grandmaster?" Bibai Dong's sudden outburst of anger startled the cardinal. He quickly said, "He has now been expelled from Heaven Dew Royal Academy by Emperor Zhu Yi, and a lifelong ban has also been issued, prohibiting him from leading teams in the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy elite tournament. Now, everyone in Heaven Dew City calls him a fraudulent grandmaster who misleads his disciples. Go and summon Elder Yu Guan and Elder Gui Mei," Bibai Dong said furiously. Chapter 144, The Mother Tyrannosaurus Comes to the Door, Yes. The cardinal dared not delay and quickly exited the meeting hall. A moment later, Chrysanthemum Pass, clad in golden armor and wearing gauntlets, and Gui Mei, dressed in black leather armor and wreathed in black mist, walked in, knelt on one knee and said respectfully, "Your Majesty the Pope." Bibai Dong turned around, her face filled with murderous intent. "Tang Hao's son, Tang San, has appeared. Tang Hao is the culprit who murdered the previous Your Majesty the Pope, and his son is also a remnant of the Clear Sky sect. He must not be let go. Once this person leaves Heaven Dew City, you must find an opportunity to kill him with one strike." Yes. After Jugui left, Bibai Dong looked in the direction they departed and muttered to herself, "Tang San, oh Tang San, you caused Xiao Gang to lose everything and be disgraced. I will make sure you die without a burial place." Bibai Dong was so angry not because of anything else, but precisely because of Tang San. She knew very well that absorbing poison attribute spirit rings for the first 3 spirit rings would not cause any spirit side effects. Because she herself had absorbed them, there was only one reason Tang San had diarrhea. He himself was incompetent. It would have been fine if he was just incompetent, but he blamed it on her beloved Xiao Gang. This caused him to become a pariah, universally reviled with virtually no chance of recovery. Isn't this a path to self-destruction? If Tang San were allowed to continue living, the world would forever believe that Yu Xiaogang had ruined him. Therefore, the only option was for Tang San to die. Only then would the world forget the humiliation he brought upon Yu Xiaogang. The monotonous cultivation continued. After 2 days and 2 nights of secluded cultivation, Ning Chuan still hadn't touched the bottleneck of the 6th layer of mysterious heaven skill. Even when the 3rd day of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy elite tournament began, Ning Chuan was still attempting to break through. 2 days had passed since the Soul Master competition began, and all Spirit Master Academies had completed the first round of preliminaries. Undoubtedly, among these 29 teams, the most unlucky was the Blue Tyrant Academy. Not only were they severely beaten, but they were also splattered with feces, and even now they hadn't emerged from the psychological trauma. Of course, Shrek wasn't doing much better. Although they weren't seriously injured and had changed out of their shit-green clothes, but in some ways, they were even more miserable. The moment they stepped into the Great Spirit Arena, they were immediately recognized. Terms like Shrek, Feces People, Dung Spirit Master, Poop Spirit Master, Shit Team, in short, the names couldn't be more unpleasant. Who told Tang San's black skin and his characteristic short stature to be so eye-catching? So no matter where the Shrek group went, they would hear similar remarks. As a result, the Shrek members didn't want to be near Tang San. They all walked far away from him. Compared to Shrek's everyone calls them shit, the treatment of the new Royal Fight team was immeasurably better. It was like heaven and earth. The spectators gathered outside the Great Spirit Arena, preparing to enter, saw their valiant golden attire and immediately swarmed forward for autographs, clearly behaving like fans chasing celebrities. Of course, the vast majority of them were women, and they were there for Ning Chuan. Fortunately, the organizers seemed to have anticipated this scene and arranged for people to block them in advance. Otherwise, the entrance to the Great Spirit Arena would have been completely blocked. Even so, many women were still shouting at the new Royal Fight team, making them seem like major stars from Blue Star. Of course, they themselves were much more dazzling than major stars. "Teacher, who are our opponents today?" Ning Chuan looked at Louise. Louise said, "It's Ra's Academy. Their strength is similar to that of Blue Tyrant Academy, who lost to Shrek yesterday." The new Royal Fight team members spent the entire day yesterday cultivating, but Louise wasn't idle. She and Mona spent the whole day collecting intelligence at the Great Spirit Arena, including information on Ra's Academy. Ning Chuan thought for a moment, then let Rongrong take my place. Remember not to expose her spirit, just go through the motions. With Zhuking and the others' strength, they can handle it. Understood, but are you planning to cultivate? Ning Rongrong asked curiously. Ning Chuan nodded. Yes, I've already felt the bottleneck. I should be able to make a breakthrough after a few more days of cultivation. So, unless there's a strong team coming up, I won't be on the field. Yu Feng pouted. True, if you were on the field, we wouldn't have any chance to show off. The others nodded in agreement, deeply convinced. With Ning Chuan's abnormal strength, going on stage would simply be bullying. As they were talking, a curvaceous, black-clad, beautiful woman walked over aggressively, with Flender following behind her. Flender's expression looked no different from that of a simp. No, to be precise, he was a simp. He followed behind the black-clad, beautiful woman like a lackey. And from Flender's attitude, as well as the black-clad, beautiful woman's explosive temper and equally curvaceous figure, it wasn't hard to guess her identity. The tigress, Liu Erlong. The biggest love-struck fool in the original work, bar none. After all, to marry her own cousin, such an absurd act, already went beyond the scope of being merely love-struck. What do you want to do? Mona, who was responsible for protecting the new Royal Fight team members, saw Liu Erlong approaching aggressively and immediately blocked her path. Get out of my way. This doesn't concern you. I'm looking for Ning Chuan. Ning Chuan, you bastard, get out here. Liu Erlong started off like a shrew cursing in the street. Flender, on the other hand, showed an apologetic expression and explained to Mona. Teacher Mona, please don't misunderstand. This Dean Liu Erlong of Blue Tyrant Academy is one of our former Golden Triangle members. She's just here to discuss academics with Ning Chuan and Grandmaster Louise, with absolutely no ill intent. Mona glanced at Liu Erlong, then said coldly to Flender, this doesn't look like someone here to discuss academic issues. Also, Teacher Flender, I hope you haven't forgotten that you are still a senior teacher at Heaven-Du Royal Academy, not Blue Tyrant Academy. My father invited your Shrek to Heaven-Du Royal Academy and even gave you competition slots. Is this how you repay our Heaven-Du Royal Academy? Subscribe for more novel audiobooks books like Thumbs Up Comment Speech Balloon, Share Bell Infinite Novel Audio. Mona's words directly made Flender unable to lift his head. Liu Erlong snorted. It's just a lousy Heaven-Du Royal Academy senior teacher. Flender, don't be afraid of him. Come to my Blue Tyrant Academy and I'll make you the dean directly. Ning Chuan, are you even a man? If you have the guts, get out here. Hearing this, Ning Chuan knew that Flender had probably said something, and this tigress was coming to stand up for Yu Xiaogang. So he immediately lost all interest in cultivating, stood beside Mona and said coldly, Ma'am, is there something you need? You called me ma'am. You actually dared to call me ma'am. Liu Erlong's eyes widened, and she pointed at herself in disbelief. Chapter 145, Yu Xiaogang's theory is plagiarized and is wrong. Ning Chuan said, What's wrong? Is there a problem with me calling you auntie? Just now, Teacher Flender next to you said that you were one of the former Golden Triangle. Dean Flender is already over 50, and that other Grandmaster is also close to 50. Even if you're younger than them, you probably aren't much younger, so calling you auntie is perfectly fine. Oh, I almost forgot. Oscar of the Shrek team, his father seems to have had him when he was 14. If you calculate it that way, calling you grandma would be enough. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the new royal fight team burst into laughter. Flender looked embarrassed, while Liu Erlong was almost driven mad with anger. Bastard, this old lady today I must. Just as Liu Erlong was about to erupt, a staff member from the Great Spirit Arena noticed the commotion and walked over. What's going on? The staff member held a whistle in their hand and stared at Liu Erlong and Flender with wary eyes, as if they would blow the whistle if they made any move. At that point, it wouldn't be a small matter, but a big one. They could even be disqualified from the competition. Flender obviously noticed this and immediately pulled Liu Erlong, explaining, nothing, just some acquaintances chatting, right, Ning Chuan. While speaking, he didn't forget to transmit a message to Liu Erlong. Liu Erlong, for Xiao Gang, just bear with it for a bit. Hearing this, Liu Erlong finally calmed down. However, the pride in front of her trembled, outlining breathtaking curves. Captain Ning Chuan, what do you think of this? The staff member's gaze shifted to Ning Chuan, the captain of the new royal fight team, and their attitude immediately improved significantly, even carrying a hint of fawning. Ning Chuan waved his hand, signaling the other party to leave, and calmly said to Flender, "Teacher Flender, you should let this auntie speak her mind directly. Otherwise, I don't have that much time to mess around with her." After the staff member left, Liu Erlong suppressed the anger in her chest and questioned, "How can you say Xiao Gang's theory is wrong, that it's plagiarized? How can you blame Tang San's spirit side effects on Xiao Gang?" Ning Chuan replied calmly, "Firstly, Tang San's spirit side effects were not blamed by me. Tang San truly did have side effects. I never said it was caused by you Xiao Gang. I only said that Tang San's skin turned black, and he occasionally suffered from diarrhea because he absorbed 3 poison attribute spirit rings. It was Tang San, Yu Xiaogang's proud disciple, who himself believed that Yu Xiaogang caused his spirit to have side effects. I merely offered corresponding solutions. The result was that although Tang San's skin didn't whiten, his diarrhea significantly eased. That clear sky Douluo followed my method, changing Tang San from having diarrhea day and night, 24 hours a day, to only having it once every 2 or 3 days. Speaking of this, Ning Chuan looked indifferently at Flender. Dean Flender can surely vouch for this, right? Hearing this, Flender recalled the scene when Tang Hao took Tang San out that time and nodded. Indeed, ever since Clear Sky Douluo took Tang San out for a while, the side effects significantly improved. They weren't as frequent as before. Even so, you can't say Xiao Gang's theory is wrong or plagiarized, can you? Liu Erlong said, unwilling to give up. Ning Chuan sneered. Taking some basic theoretical knowledge left by predecessors, summarizing it, and then claiming it as your own, saying it's your own research, isn't that plagiarism? As for theoretical errors, tell me, which one of his so-called theories is correct? As Yu Xiaogang's love-struck and fanatical admirer, Liu Erlong was naturally familiar with Yu Xiaogang's so-called 10 core competencies of spirits. The first of the 10 core competencies of spirits. There are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters. Ning Chuan nodded and said, "This point is indeed correct, because I cultivated from a useless spirit. However, have you thought carefully? Yu Xiaogang's spirit is a pig that can only fart, which in the eyes of the world should be a useless spirit, but he hasn't cultivated into anything impressive. He's already 50 and still hasn't broken through level 30. Doesn't this sentence imply that he himself is useless? You're talking nonsense. Xiao Gang is not useless." Liu Erlong gritted her teeth and said, "The second point, spirits are only tool spirits and beast spirits." Ning Chuan said speechlessly, "This seems to be common sense again. Can it be called a theory? Go to the street and randomly find a spirit master, or even just a slightly knowledgeable ordinary person, and ask them. Even without seeing these so-called 10 core competencies of spirits, they all know the distinction between tool spirits and beast spirits. If this can also be considered a theory, then everyone would be a theoretical grandmaster. Furthermore, besides tool spirits and beast spirits, there are some people whose spirits are neither beast spirits nor tool spirits but a certain part of their body. It can be a hand, it can be an eye, or even their own soul. How should this be calculated? For example, the spirit of that ghost Douluo from Spirit Hall, Gui Mei. His spirit is his own soul. Can you also count this as a beast spirit or a tool spirit? In my opinion, this should be categorized as a body spirit. Besides these, there are also some special spirits, which I won't introduce one by one. If I say too much, you won't understand after all. Someone who can regard Yu Xiaogang's theories, whether plagiarized or fabricated, as profound truths, probably doesn't have a very high IQ. After listening to Ning Chuan's words, Liu Erlong was almost driven mad with anger, yet she was powerless to refute. So, she could only hope that among Yu Xiaogang's 10 core competencies of spirits, there would be a theory that Ning Chuan couldn't refute. The third point, every spirit ring has an absorption limit. The first ring is 423 years, the second ring is 764 years, the third ring is 1760 years. The ninth ring is 100,000 years. After saying these words, Liu Erlong showed an extremely confident smile on her face, because this was the point she admired the most and also considered the most correct. If that's the case, then how do you explain the spirit rings on my body? Yellow, purple, purple, black, 4 spirit rings slowly rose from beneath his feet. Ning Chuan did not summon his spirit, only his spirit rings. A 10,000-year fourth ring, a 1,000-year second ring. Seeing the extraordinarily exaggerated spirit rings on Ning Chuan's body, Liu Erlong's mouth dropped open in shock. Immediately after, she stubbornly said, "You are just an exception." Ning Chuan said, "Even if I am an exception, Yu Xiaogang's so-called spirit ring absorption limit is not rigorous. Not to mention that he doesn't even know that a 10,000-year spirit ring will cause a soul shock. These so-called spirit ring absorption limits are also highly problematic, because everyone's endurance limit is different. For example, a beast spirit master, whose physique is stronger, can absorb a 400-year spirit ring as their first spirit ring. But if you were to make a support system spirit master, or even a food system spirit master, who is the most difficult to cultivate and has the worst physique, absorb a 400-year spirit ring, what do you think would happen to them? The most crucial thing is that not everyone is a genius. 400 years only applies to geniuses, and although I am not a genius, I have experienced countless trials of blood and tears. If you let someone with only 1 or 2 levels of innate spirit power, who hasn't undergone special training like me, absorb a 400-year spirit ring, do you think they would explode and die? #150 update later. Update will be delayed. Something came up. The update will be delayed. Subscribe for more novel audiobooks, books, like thumbs up, comment, speech balloon, share, bell, infinite novel audio.